J Squad.
We gotta find. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue.
Yo, what is going on, everybody? It has been an exciting day today. Man, I'm telling you. I've got two things that I am super excited about right now. Not just one, but two. So, you read the thing, it looks like Liquid Sonic, a YouTuber that I've watched quite a bit of, has made a video on the one and the only Stuttering Craig. So we're going to be watching that today. More importantly, though, more importantly than anything else that has come up today, let's get over here. Get me on screen. There we go. There we go. Yeah, you just watched it yourself. Nice. I'm hoping it's going to be good. I like Liquid Sonic. Where are we? Yeah. Boom. Most important thing to come out today is RimWorld has announced another DLC with an update 1.6. This is probably my favorite game of all time. And every time they say that they're done making content on it, they make another one like a couple years down the road. So, get to make ships now, more exploration. This looks badass as hell. I already read through most of it. I'm not going to read it all on screen. But one thing that I will be doing today while we go in the background is the 1.6 update. While it isn't live, I have the unstable build that they have for it. So we're going to be testing it out. My missus is my RimWorld. Hey, what are you saying there, Nazmir? Dude, I love RimWorld. I always go back to RimWorld. There's nothing like a good war crime simulator. I've actually been playing it for a little while as a sanguiphage. But let's see here. So with that, we're gonna pop over here. I'm gonna turn that off for a minute. Pop over to gaming. Whoop. Turn that off. Boom. There it is. I went through and now none of my mods work. I don't even have all of them. But we're going to test. No, get out of there. You don't work. But we're going to test it out, see what's going on, see if damn dude, chill, Nazir. I know he's coming in here getting crazy. We're going to start a new colony. One thing that I can say about RimWorld is I've never actually done, and I've never technically beat the game. Like, I've never done the spaceship thing. I always tell like a story while I'm playing and then get from there. So we're going to do just the normal crash landed. I always do strive to survive, and you have to go commitment mode. And we'll play with Cassandra right now. I don't know that I'm ready for a Randy run just yet. 0 to 100. I love it. That's right. That's right. I just like to get into it. Boom, boom, boom. We'll keep everything here. Advantage settings. Oh, yeah. We don't want to fuck with any of that. Man, it's been a while since I've played this game. I'm hoping that we'll get to see, like, they've added in pretty much what looks like a lot of mods. Boom. Where should we go? For Awa base. No, I don't want no swamp. Terrain. Planet. Okay, so they still don't show them. And I think a lot of the new stuff is going to be coming in with it. So it's basically the same until we get the full update. But we'll go Temperate Forest. Yeah, I like seasons. I'm going to go without an ideology this time. And man, we got shitty first characters. He's good. We like him. Melee, the Torturer. Yeah, we'll put her in there. Medieval Doctor. I don't have any construction, though. She can construct. Forester. Keep the Forester in there. God damn, everyone's dumb, too. Oh, she's pretty good. So let's get rid of this child. And we will go with Danny, Dodo, and Ad. I think will be our first start. No good mining and okay cooking. Boom. I'll be playing this in the background for y'all to watch while we go through it. Let's see. The three of you. Oh, yeah. But before that, Let me make sure the music is, that shouldn't, boom, boom. Yeah. We'll turn this down a little bit. Let's get to our first video. This is my second favorite thing to come out of here. Whoops. Second favorite thing today, just a few hours ago. No good comes from copying Destiny War. What are you talking about? Boom, there it is. So the second good thing we got here is a video on Stuttering Craig. I just came out a few hours ago from Liquid Sonic. Oh, similar setup. Was it before or after RIMWORLD? Because RIMWORLD, I think, takes a lot of its stuff from Dwarf Simulator. Now that's the hardcore one. But Liquid Sonic made a video on Stuttering Craig called the Antiwoke Abomination, Stuttering Craig of side scrollers. And I mean, I just love some hit pieces on some anti-wokers. So we're gonna watch this while I play some RIMWORLD, and we'll see what's going on.
Craig Skitsmus, also known as Stuttering Craig, and now just going by Craig of the Side Scrollers podcast, used to be known as one of the OGs of online gaming content creation, being a co-founder of website Screw Attack in 2006. And through this, being a pioneer of the medium, there are very few creators that have lasted as long as Craig has in his industry. And with being around for so long, Craig has had to adapt with the times, and throughout his career, he has had a mix of failures and successes in his endeavors. His most recent project is a reboot of the Side Scrollers podcast, and now he covers gaming news through an anti-woke lens. And it's safe to say it's a pretty decent success, but I see this anti-woke stance that Craig takes as insincere, and unfortunately I think it lacks in any value and doesn't add anything to the conversation around wokeness in games.
I mean, I can already say that I agree with this. Stuttering Craig to me is just kind of like an absolute leech that I've seen. It shows when he makes comments to about Grums and him being an absolute, pain for the gaming industry by not finishing his game and flat out just saying, "Oh, I don't care." He says the right message. So yeah, I'm already in agreement.
So it's quite funny to look back now and see that Craig's first endeavor into content creation was the Side Scrollers podcast. But this being back in 2006 took a very different form to what it is now. He initially wanted an online radio show about gaming, but he quickly found out what podcasting was and co-founded the Screw Attack website with his friend Handsome Tom to host said podcast. And I haven't listened to a lot of this stuff for making this video, but it seems like solid content, especially for its time. I mean, this guy he's a spread a wide net and hope I can get something to hit, because what he has, the Side Scrollers podcast, he now has the Side Scrollers Plus, which I don't know how he's going to make money off of that. He's got what else, the Real Game Awards, which I don't know if that's ever going to show up again. They're acting like they're going to, and they act like they got backers. It's just he's trying everything he can to stay in it. This was way before my time, but Joe Rogan started podcasting in 2009. And, people always say, oh, he's an innovator. He's one of the first guys. I don't actually know myself if that is the case, but it's an example. 3 years after Craig started doing his show, so I can't imagine there was much content like this online. And it didn't take long for them to start releasing video content with the video game Vault. These were pretty basic,
I didn't see that.
Reviews, often being less than a minute long, covering retro games. If you watch something like their Intelligent Cube for PS1 video, it is pretty much just a brief overview of the game.
The goal of this game is to get a sweet IQ by getting more points. You try to capture the gray blocks while letting the black ones fall off. You can also use the green blocks to blow up the rest of them.
And as time passed, they upgraded their content. They started doing top 10s.
Number 10.
And they also started collaborating with other creators. Most notably,
it's crazy to think that that he's been doing this for so long.
Scouted the angry video game nerd.
Oh, what
and
the
got him to
hell?
start releasing his videos on the Screw Attack website, and things went so well for them that GameTrailers.com stepped in and struck a deal to host their content. This was a far more official and corporate style website than Screw Attack, but the Screw Attack team and the angry video game nerd seemingly had free reign to produce whatever content they wanted. So they were a pretty good fit. Game Trailers could keep their corporate image, and they could host Screw Attack and AVGN to do more relatable gaming content. And I look back on this age as a time of genuine and honest content creation. There wasn't a great deal of money to be made, and people didn't expect this to become a business. So people would just make stuff that they personally found interesting, and they would do whatever they like. Like, you weren't going to find other gaming media outlets doing Soulja Boy diss tracks or working with people to make their own Clerk-style web series.
3 game chicks you would not have sex with.
Melina from Mortal Kombat. Any of the Draenei chicks from World of Warcraft. And Chun-Li.
Really? Not Chun-Li?
Oh yeah. You see, as amazingly hot as Chun-Li is, her massive, powerful thighs would crush any man like a vice.
Yes, that is a young pro Jared doing a bit where he gets his
This this brings back memories of old YouTube. Isn't Craig like rolling into his 50s now? I don't know.
balls crushed by Chun-Li. And it's not only totally not creepy guy that's never done anything wrong pro Jared that started there. For example, Destin Legary started there before moving to IGN for 13 years, and the whole crew from Death Battle started their franchise under the Screw Attack name. And after time, with Death Battle's meteoric rise and Screw Attack's dwindling numbers, Craig made the inspired decision to split from Death Battle, retire Screw Attack, and start Game Attack. And unfortunately, this project did not see the same success. In fact, here's Sean, who now does Hang Time, claiming that they made only $500 to $600 a month.
But our YouTube channel was making about...
He's Hey, Simon, watch it. I'm 41. He's not that old. Here's the thing with Craig. He shit talks daily video game shows as boring. Then he did one. Gronkin did a yearly video games award show parody. Then he did one. So it's like he chases trends. You better watch yourself, Simon. You think I won't like boot you out of here for the day? The Gronkin did a free video review. So he's just basically he's trying to chase trends, is what you're saying.
$100 a month on when we were at our highest. The most successful channel our YouTube ever was, we were making $600. Maybe like $1,000 a month.
So again, Craig parted ways, and it was a while until we'd hear from him again. I did have a bit about Craig coming back and interviewing his old friends, and his weird show with his loser brother, but let's get into what's really interesting, the new Side Scrollers podcast. Here
just turned 30 a few months ago.
Lens.
But I hope you understand the
You're
show.
practically a child.
And the show is not meant to be political at all, which once again, not an anti-woke show.
Oh right, I guess it's not. What's going on over there then?
Ian came in with 10.
Not an anti-woke show, but but look who's sitting right there, old critical drinker.
Gifted memberships. Let's go, Ian. Thank you very much.
Ian, you legend, you.
It will?
What a stud. Do we have Kirsha bouncing up and down for?
Oh, hang on. I gotta find her. Where
Thank
is
you.
she? There she is.
Oh, dear Lord Jesus.
There she is. Good to see you, Kirsha. Thank you very much for your bouncing right there. That's wonderful.
That's just some out of context clip. Yeah, there's irony I'm not tuned into. I haven't been watching it enough. Oh, cool. It's well-known class act Arch Warhammer. He's gonna bring it back.
Give it up for Joey.
Anti-woke is the new normal, man. Yeah.
For the massive $50 super chat. Says, hi, Sideshow. Just wanted to ask.
This is the show. Pay $50 to see Craig's stash of TikToks that he's stored there for his personal use. This is true.
That's fucking wild, dude. I gotta say, I probably already said it once before, but I hate these clips that they do. And it just drives me up the wall when out of nowhere they jump scare you with some fucking video or something else like that. It's just so, I don't know, lowbrow.
Really disgraceful. Is this
It makes it seem cheap.
owning the feminists, or is this a group gooning session? And I feel like salt gets rubbed into the wound even more when you learn how Craig markets this new show.
Hey everybody, I'm Craig. Welcome to the Side Scrollers podcast channel. If you are a normal man who have found common sense, guess what? And join the nearly 105,000 normal men this time. And we're going clean. We're going simple, just like normal men like. Let everybody know. Proclaim your normalcy now. The link is in the description down below. It is available. Just be a normal man.
Just be a normal man, and we're gonna get normal men on like Nick Ricati.
Dude, I can't watch. Yeah, you talk about Hypnotics. I tried to watch his stream back a while ago when I first started looking into the Antiwokers, and it is an absolute, like, I can't watch it. My ADHD won't let me watch it. There's shit happening everywhere. There's the waifu stuff, and I'm like, this is for mentally ill children. Mentally ill teens to just stare at all the pretty colors and the big boobies.
And Short Fat Otaku to tell tales of Gamergate.
Without seeking approval of the San Francisco Board of Education, Superintendent new grading for equity.
You may have noticed the shrill banshee that's unable to control the volume of their voice. This is Craig's new co-host, Blabs. And yes, strange pick to get a disabled woman to host your podcast with you. I guess she's like the Sheila Klein of the show. Maybe one day Craig will set her free in the woods. And what's crazy is Blab's flailing takes up way more of the airtime.
It's funny to listen to, because yeah, I get what they're saying here, but I will say this about her: she's been the only one that I've seen that has had a different opinion about at least the Grums situation, right? But yeah, I agree. She's kind of annoying.
Than Craig does. Craig is more of just a mouthpiece for all of the wonderful guests that he gets on the show. You've got Arch, he's gonna save the West by talking about Warhammer. We've got Twitch streamer Eric with his cowboy hat on over his headphones, clearly bold, probably closeted. You've got Yellow Flash, I wonder what this content's like.
All these game journalists like that bald woman that's in that intergalactic game. They don't like good-looking women. They don't like fit women. Every female character needs to look genderless and bored.
So he's pointing out something that I've already seen. If you look at Flash's content, what is it called? Flash Fish? Is that what he is? No, that's probably not him. Nope. What's the name of that retard's channel? But either Yellow Flash 2. There we go. Yellow Flash 2. The slop lineup. That's right, Kimoji. I already have no respect for Hypnotic beforehand, but when he tried dictating the terms of what Jay the Concept could and couldn't say on his stream to one of the guests because he had a problem with them. Yeah, dude, I think the most malicious of the group, the slop anti-wokers, is Hypnotic. He's good at yapping, and he's really good at being manipulative towards that, and he knows when to not do that. So one thing that I've noticed about a lot of these anti-wokers is they're not doing very well on views. So we've got a guy who's got 475,000 subscribers, but he's pulling 85K on his views. And it's like 18K. Let's look at recently. That's only 6 hours. 20K on an 8 hour. Look how often he puts out videos. He just drops them. Are they clips of his stream? Is that what he's doing? He doesn't even have his streams up if he does stream. Then we've got, this one's a day old, 28K. 5 days old, it didn't 40K. He's not racking in the money. I hate Yellow Flash's content. Absolute slop for 475K. Well, apparently no one else likes it either, because he's not pulling numbers. He should be pulling, 2K for his, or 200K for his videos or something like that. Like, yeah, I get it. He's not going to get all 475, but this is atrocious numbers. You hate that some people think you sound like Yellow Flash? Let's see. Where are we? Oh, spoiler alerts. We can get rid of that now.
Borderline, or they're not happy.
No
Yeah, I can hear it.
way. I'm looking for a creator that still does Stellar Blade coverage and 10-minute daily uploads about Grum's tweets. Thank you, Yellow Flash. When gaming's fixed and the West is saved, we're gonna remember your Stellar Blade coverage. You can sit there in your goon cave with your VR headset on, and you'll be getting gifted skins for your Korean slop game from every white male as a token of our appreciation for your hard work. And with guests such as these, Craig's already reached the top. Craig is at the peak of content. So where's he gonna go from here? Well, Craig can always break new ground and learn about a new genre of content.
I'm just a normal man. I'm very excited to be on with you
Oh, please get her off my fucking screen.
guys. This is incredible.
Don't worry, for any VTuber haters out there, Craig's incredibly non-committal. He's just learning about VTubing.
I've said this before. I am not super familiar with the VTubing space. I fully admit this, right? But I'm learning as we've had.
So literally he's saying right there, I don't know anything about VTubing. I see you've gone viral over this, which I wouldn't even say it was that big a deal. Well, it was. It made it to Asma and all those. So I'm going to bring you on to make to make my stuff better. Don't hate VTubers, but VTubers generally hate me. To me, I don't mind VTubers all that much. I don't like the pedo bait ones that are all out there, and it seems like there's a vast majority of them that pedo bait.
VTubers on our show. Like I said, this is something that I'm not, I'm learning about this space as we go. A lot of people are really excited that you're on today, us included. I'm glad you're with us.
Thank you.
Love your model, by the way. Really,
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Really awesome. That's good stuff.
Like I said, I'm just a normal man.
Well, Craig, I'm starting to have my doubts. I don't really buy that normal men want to watch a hog-handed hag roleplay as an anime girl.
Let's fucking go. The only VTubers I have a problem with are the lolly ones. Yeah, that's kind of what I get down to as well. Bro, you have no idea about the pedo baiting. So fucking many. Well, you know what, Briley? If you've got some content for me, I'll go over it. I don't know if I don't know if that's something I'd enjoy, but I would definitely at least be interested in it until I was absolutely disgusted.
Whatever the fuck this is.
Maybe, hey, Briley, maybe that could be the stream I bring you on to. I don't know that I'm ready to talk to you about trans kids and that. I need to do more reading and research. But maybe that's one we can bring you on for, is the pedo baiting.
Gang represent. Before I was a hag.
I don't understand who watches this shit. Like, just them ranting with the text box. There's no content here. Like, I understand some of them. Like, I've seen Kirsha like actually watch videos, but like who watches this?
I was a hag foxu. I was a fresh 18-year-old.
Speaking of pedo baiting.
Foxu. Hello. Real Elon hours. Oh my god. Need correction. You need correction, chat. You are the one who needs the correction.
If Shadman is taking commissions, it has always been a dream of mine to have artwork done by the Shadman.
Are you fucking kidding me? Is this before or after Shadman's 2001? When did Shadman fall? Make it gone. Like, oh dear Lord. Well, I get why she gets along with Nux Taku now.
Wasn't he in prison for drugs?
It's after. Holy fucking shit, dude.
Chad is a very controversial figure, but...
No, Chad is a fucking pedo who draws porn, child porn, of actual children.
I still want artwork from him.
Everybody, a show for normal men. This is cool-based right-wing
I'm there with you, Nazmir.
generation.
Okay.
Have you not heard of Bug Chasers?
I think I've heard of it.
You've never heard of people wanting their neg hole to be paused?
I said Craig's non-committal, but this is the sort of thing that Craig is really into now. He is really big on supporting Kirsch. So Kirsch has had this smear campaign against her recently because she's a right-wing VTuber. And it's pathetic. I honestly hate the way that people are going after her sponsors for this. But it's displayed something about Kirsch that I have a big distaste for, and I see this trick getting pulled off by many creators in this space. See, Kirsch makes explicitly right-wing content, but when it comes down to her commentary on this matter, she just says,
okay, let's talk about this for a second. These anti-woke grifters constantly talk about groomers, yet there's so many who love Shad. Yeah, that's the crazy thing about it. You can't get any consistency with these guys on just about any subject. It's on whatever happens. Like, clearly, if you look at Kirsch's history, she's wants art from a pedophile. She's pedo baiting on her, channel. It wouldn't surprise me that something came out about her in the future where she was grooming people in a Discord or something like that. Riley smear campaign. She indirectly endorsed the Great Replacement theory. So I understand that, like, you do the smear campaign. It wasn't cancel culture, a traditional cancel culture smear campaign. Yes, that Anna chick went after sponsors. Yes, that's gross, but it did almost nothing. And in fact, Kirsch in the end is the one who had successful cancel culture when she had the all of her subscribers and all of that go after the gaming company that decided to drop her. I don't care if she talks about if she is, you can't call her edgy. It's not edgy. She's just trying to rage bait for views. And I don't care that she talks about the replacement theory. I'll call her a retard for it. But I'm still on the fence. I don't like people going after sponsors. She canceled the cancelers. Nah, yeah, exactly. She just did the exact same thing that she did. And hopefully Friday I'll be able to show the court documents and talk about them and show that Smash JT is no different. He's a cancel culture guy too. Little off topic.
Oh, I'm just slightly right-leaning of center.
Gotta protect their own. That's right, Kamoji.
Much easier target for these smear merchants because I lean slightly right of center. And because I lean
none of these fucking guys lean slightly right of fucking center. As a libertarian who's in the middle and probably more to the right, these guys are nowhere near the center.
Slightly right of center.
And I'm just a little foxu. I'm just a slightly right-leaning little foxu.
That seems very targeted to me. And why? I'm an anime fox girl VTuber.
And I think if she really cared about what she talks about, she'd say something like, I am a right-wing voice. More than half of the country that I live in have these sort of similar views that I have, and my voice is being silenced.
I'm just a cartoon fox woman.
To be fair, not everyone has to be principled, and they can just rake in money from simps, and she's done that quite well. She's even growing because people like Asmongold and Tectone are sticking up for her.
Yeah, again.
Dude, the amount of people that are moving in to suck off Asmongold is astounding. Everybody is trying to suck him off so that they'll put him on their channel. Rev was like one of the beginner guys, and then you've got, Craig is doing it now. Grums is doing it. It's just absolutely it's disgusting. Like they have no thoughts of their own. They just want to say something that they think Asmongold will put on TV. They retaliated by harassing her off of public-facing internet, and Thorn via death threats. Yet those crybabies claim they were justified over and asking, "Is this really the GSUPs aligns with?" Yeah, I get that. Like, I don't like the article that the person wrote, that Anne wrote, but it was just an article, and she didn't. I don't remember if she actually said the exact words. She was definitely hinting at, you know, getting away from, you know, getting GamerSups to denounce her. And in all reality, when it comes to the VTubers that dropped GamerSups, that's them, you know, using their voice. If they don't want to take the money, because it's a detriment to them, right? They're not taking the money. Then that's their right to do. Like, they don't have to associate with somebody. I just realized you're actually playing, and it's not just a background video. Yeah, I play. I'm not one of those guys that doesn't play, just puts background stuff on. It's probably going to cause this colony to die pretty quick, but and never called Kirsche Nazi directly, but pointed out a fan of hers was. Yeah, they pointed out the fan, which I thought was kind of dumb. It's that by association thing, but a lot of the other stuff in the video was just stuff she said, like the Great Replacement Theory and things like that. And I think every gaming or everybody should be able to criticize people for stuff like that. But no, she did and I'm babbling on about this dumb bitch. She directly sent a cease and desist to silence Vice from talking about her. She directly did a call to action to have her followers go after the indie gaming company to give them bad reviews, which indie games live and die by their Steam reviews in most cases, unless they get lucky. So, I mean, she's the epitome of cancel culture.
And the level of support has been amazing, and I definitely credit Asmongold for showcasing on his platform. I'm very grateful to him. I'm grateful to, like, Tectone, who had made videos on it.
Your dad's a yeah.
And Craig, like the businessman that he is desperate to suckle on the teat of Asmon's clout.
What do you think we need to do to get...
I didn't pre-watch
Kirsche crossover stream? Well, I'll tell you what. Maybe we can... I mean, I don't know Asmongold, but maybe we can facilitate something like that.
Oh, this guy is such a fucking loser. He doesn't give a shit about Kirsche or her plight. He just wants fucking clout. It's all he cares about. It's the only reason that he... Oh, shit. I'm letting my guys... See, I'm letting my guys die. He doesn't give a shit that any of them are, you know, who they are. He just wants their views. Fucking... And I can't stand people like that. Clout goblins. I'll work on this. Oh, there we go. Whew. Whew.
One wants to clip this and present it to him on his show via his Reddit or however he, just throwing it out there. Everybody wants to do a crossover with Asmongold, but come on,
I don't. I think Asmongold is the worst thing to happen to politics in, I don't know, since the medieval ages. The guy's an absolute retard. Watching him try to describe politics is like, I don't even know how to describe it. Since Hassan, yeah, the worst fucking thing from Hassan. At least Hassan, though he makes his out of pocket crazy statements and stuff like that, knows something of what he's talking about. Yeah, I can't stand either of them. Damage Sector. It's like the worst of politics. I hate Jordan Peterson, but he at least got some chuds to clean their fucking rooms. Fair enough.
Kirsche and her husbando together, and I think that'd be...
Come on,
I think Kirsche knows what he's doing, Simon. That's why she's like awkwardly giggling as he's clout goblin. But she's going to use him in his little show to make
I
money.
need to climb the ladder. I need to get rid of Eric. There's only so much attention I can drum up by getting rapidly aging Ehag Menely Mac as a guest on my show.
Kirsch, time to enlighten them on sounding. Manya, manya.
Oh yeah, I'm an uptight Christian that virtue signals every chance I get, but I'm happy to talk about sounding with a hypersexual VTuber, as long as it keeps the views up. So yeah, please keep coming back on, Kirsch.
Those are how long your nails are? No way.
Those aren't my most recent picture, but yeah, that's about how long my nails are. What do you mean, how do I wipe my ass? With my fingers.
With your fingers. Imagine the smell of office.
Anything when your fingers or nails are in so long.
God, shut up!
Someone did make this video of scrolling all of this harasser's tweets.
I think Jordan Peterson's still with them, isn't he? Because he's got that Christian show. I thought that was under the Daily Wire. I know some of them that's kind of separated a little bit, and I've heard Ben Shapiro doesn't like Trump, but I don't know. I don't watch politics that hard anymore. I'm an old man. My heart gets to pumping.
Just to give a sense of how many posts about me there were, and these are only the ones that mention my name. There were plenty that didn't have my name but were about me.
If anything, Dragon Fat Deposit, does that not normal person have anything to say nowadays? I'm joking, I didn't read this document. Someone in Short Fat Otaku's Discord's a freak? Big surprise. Seriously, this area of the internet is rotten. And Craig's got this other leaflet friend now.
Love your model, by the way.
Their content, it's a Kirsch clone, but their role-playing's a child, and Craig's a huge fan.
I'd turn this up a little louder.
Craig, is there something you want to tell the class?
I said notice to Hoyo saying that I would no longer voice Paimon until they became unions.
Just want to point out, rule of probability. Behind the model, this is probably what Kirsch and Leaflet look like as well.
Okay.
Can I say something here?
Can I ask a question? I think you're losing grip on the show now, Craig.
I'll tell you that thing behind you over your left shoulder kind of looks like a dick.
Seriously, you've got to stop watching these VTubers.
Oh man, I think the amount of people that have become like porn sick freaks. And listen, I was in the army, right? Porn is a natural part of the army, but some of these guys that have become so like porn sick that everything they see is sexual is beyond me.
So now I'll give Craig one bit of praise. He has at least managed to stick his flag into one take that he'll commit to, and that is he really doesn't like the trans. But the commentary, it still is lacking. He just doesn't have a lot to say about it. Here you've got an all-trans competitive esports team competing in a women's league. This would be prime comedy for Metica 8 years ago. And now it's Craig's turn to relive some of that glory. So much potential outrage, so many potential zingers, and we've got Eric here as well. God, I just love Eric. So we're ready for some great commentary here. Take it away.
Eric, you're a dad. When you see this type of thing, I don't know, do you have any thoughts on all this nonsense?
Yeah. I just hope my daughters never have to play against one of them in sports.
Riveting content. Riveting. What happened now? Oh, Danny's upset.
I agree.
Truly top tier stuff there. And you know, normal men love talking about what woman is going to be cast as Zelda in a new live action.
I always said I don't judge people who like sexy characters. It's the people who are addicted, who are weird. Yeah, I mean, yes, we all like sexy characters. We get that. But not everything has to be Stellar Blade gooning content. You ever notice you never see any of these guys putting out the gaming play of it? It's always, oh look, the people put in her nude model. Now we can make some of the best mods. I was like, okay, this used to be like the modding community has always had this, but it was always small and kind of weird stuff, and it's like gone out of proportion somewhere. and we need to push it back down.
Adaptation, and they definitely have been watching too much Kirsch at this point because they're really into the actress being young.
You said gender esports. Is that what he said? Hold on.
And we've got Eric here as well. God, I just love Eric. So we're ready for some great commentary here. Take it away.
Eric, you're a dad. When you see this type of thing, I don't know, do you have any thoughts on all this nonsense?
Yeah.
It is. Okay, yeah, the Women's League for Esports. Like... This is crazy to me that there's a men and women's esports. Like I understand in normal sports there's a reason for it, right? But esports?
I just hope my daughters never have to play against one of them in sports.
I agree.
Truly top tier stuff there. And you know, men love talking about what woman is going to be cast as...
Oh, this one. Jesus.
And they definitely have been watching.
This has been such a dumb take. And everyone's like, oh, I can tell. I can tell. And I was like, I hate to tell you, but some trans people present very well as women. There was... before the trans was really a thing, you had the cross dressers and stuff like that. And I used to go to this gay bar with some of my gay friends, and we had one that was her name was Caramel. She was a guy, but she dragged. And when she got into drag and stuff like that, you couldn't really tell. Like, you couldn't tell at all. You knew because you knew her. I think on average men have a slight advantage in reaction time, but it's really not worth dividing them over. Yeah, I agree with that. It's embarrassing as someone who likes to do some gaming critiques that actually invokes this crazy thing called thought. No, we don't have time for thought. Well, they have a thought. They have one thought, and that's about all they can hold in their brain until someone tells them what the next thought is. But I guarantee you, if she was in public and no one knew who she was, that some of these guys would be checking her out. Thought, never heard of that. Brawley, yeah. Are you the one without the GHU?
Too much Kirsch at this point because they're really into the actress being young.
Oh,
at least she's in the age bracket. She's not a 30-year-old man.
Okay.
So
let's throw out. I asked Rock to give me some actors between the ages of 16 and 20, right?
Grok, find me a nice 16-year-old I can pull up on screen. And this, I'm dead serious. This is...
I can't believe he just said that. I gotta hear that. I gotta hear that again. Hold on. Oh, Jesus.
I asked Rock to give me some actors between the ages of 16 and 20, right?
Grok, find me a nice 16-year-old I can pull up on screen. And this, I'm dead serious. This is not a problem with Craig, right? I just have to point this out. This is a problem with Grok. He asks for 16 to 20-year-olds that could play Zelda, and the actress is of age, but all the pictures that come up are all from sites which have a blank word tribute and these sorts of things. It's so weird. Oh,
Vera, yeah, I've seen her play a lot of stuff, and I think for her content, she generally has some of the most, I guess, milquetoast takes on it. She doesn't really, I don't feel like she really dives in. She says the right words, but she's not, doesn't seem hardcore like Smash. And her resting bitch face is legendary.
look, Sam and Chad are hanging out with the Hang Time guys, just playing some games. Kind of like what normal men would do.
And the better part is, I bet you those boobies are actually like squishy, because some anime figurines, their boobs are actually like made of like a squishy material. You can go toot toot.
I'm a normal man.
Yeah, she keeps it surface. At least the few ones that I've watched.
Truth teller Tectone, come down.
Oh no, not Tectone.
The Side Scrollers podcast is they lack any analysis with what they talk about. Like, they cover this new way that Sony's moderating their games, and they just don't know anything about it. They have this article, it's pretty bare bones, and they don't even read the entire thing.
Yes, so exactly. What exactly does this mean? Comparing the or each metric with an average or reference metric for a typical individual, as described elsewhere herein. So, anyways, yes. So all this, we've seen Activision go in, and
he's just like, social credit score.
But this very much sounds like a social credit score.
Dystopian future.
And not a huge fan of this kind of dystopian feel.
Tone policing.
Right? People have to self-police. They have to tone police.
Buzzword, buzzword, buzzword.
I don't really like the dystopian.
Liquid, you're speaking to me so much with these buzzwords is all they ever say. Vera's just a dumbass blonde LARPing as a redhead with zero media literacy. Yeah, that's kind of similar to what I get about it. Yeah, zero insight with Craig. Especially some of these guys are just absolutely... I completely fucked that up. Like, they're who's another one that I absolutely think is brain dead? 8-Bit Eric. All he does is beef with Alyssa online. He tries to take every tweet that she says and he does something about it, and then she wonders why. He claps back, and it's just such attention-seeking bullshit.
Like, thought policing. Like, every game's gonna have some kind of TOS and a way to punish people who are bad behavioral, right? But, like, when you start getting on this weird sliding credit score system, it creates, like, an artificial goodness, and then you don't know who the, like, shitty people are.
Yes, by implementing something that's going to detect bad actors, it's going to make it harder to see who the bad actors in the game are. Great input, Kirsch. Thank you very much. This stuff is frustrating to watch because they've already reached their conclusion before they've started their segment. Oh, the game industry is bad, so this is going to be bad. And yeah, it very well might be, but some investigation, some reporting would go a long way as to telling us why this is a problem. Like, imagine Total Biscuit, RIP, just looking at a headline or a tweet of something and being like, oh yeah, it looks bad, doesn't it? And moving on. You know, what's the point in learning about things? What's the point in finding things out? Don't think critically. Just get that low-level endorphin buzz as you melt into your gamer chair. Whilst you take breaks between masturbating over...
Is this the easy way to make money? Am I doing it wrong by being honest? Should I start this script?
Computer graphics. But there is one exception. There is one exception to this podcast. That's...
Asmir, follow and freak out every single tweet or career move they make, then get upset when they respond and say Alyssa needs to shut up is a classic cyberbully. Oh yeah, I've been reading over. I've read through the court case so far, and woo man, there are some very good arguments. A little spoiler alert. I can have a discussion over Alyssa's journalism and where I would like to see games journalism and have a huge shift, but that's not why they're doing it. Yeah, they're doing it straight for clout. Liquid Sonic is mistaking it here. They don't move on from games. Shadow is a good example of that. Well, I feel like that's been a more recent development for them, where there hasn't, like, for about a year, it felt like there was at least something they could call woke coming out regularly. They're trying to push some of these smaller games that have come out since the Summerfest stuff, but there was a huge gap where there was nothing that anyone considered woke coming out, or that they tried to push something and they couldn't get it. Yeah, they went after GTA 6. They're just absolutely they're floundering, so they have to go back to stuff that they have already said, like, remember our wins, guys, remember our wins, even though they're not wins.
Some of you, it might make your head spin. With the bar that's been set by this show, and remember, it is with the bar that's been set by this show, Blabs kind of is like a free-thinking renegade. She like Grumps won't come back on their show anymore.
Like it's a low bar, but it's a bar.
Blabs criticized him. He's a thin-skinned little bitch.
And we've had him on our show several times, and he's obviously welcome to come back at any time.
Well, with probably with Concord, I heard about it before the anti-wokers started going out of it. It got pretty popular amongst the normal gaming review industry because people got in on the beta and it was so bad. The game, but the anti-woke had to go in there and find the little things that were woke about it and say that's the reason it died. And that's nowhere near the truth. The game died because it was a terrible premise. It was a basic, very basic game, and they tried to copy Guardians of the Galaxy. It was never going to get off its feet. So like I saw it before then. They just latched onto it because they're like, oh, this is an easy woke, anti-woke win.
Yeah, Grums, come back on, please.
It's like Veilguard. Veilguard. I knew Veilguard was going to fail when it was Dreadwolf because of some of the things that the leads in the game said. What's going on, Angry Canadian? We are finishing up the video made by Liquid Sonic. You should check it out. Anti-woke abomination, Stuttering Craig of side scrollers, and so far it's pretty good, I think. Babs is more switched on than the others realize. Let me put it that way. Yeah, I think she could shift her content to, I guess, a more reasonable content or things like that, and she probably really doesn't need them as much as they probably think she does.
Some of you, it might make your head spin. With the bar that's been set by this show, and remember, it is with the bar that's been set by this show, Blabs kind of is like a free-thinking renegade. She... like Grumps won't come back on their show anymore because Blabs has criticized him. He's a thin-skinned little bitch.
We've had him on our show several times, and he's obviously welcome to come back at any time.
Yeah, Grums, come back on, please.
So I can separate the idea that
he could be allegedly scamming people out of hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Well, not hundreds of thousands.
This is such a good article. And look at fucking Arch over there, just like deadpan. He's like, I don't know what to say here. I don't have a thought. She just went against the narrative.
Like it's respectable.
I think that he is a poor businessman who has put himself in a business situation.
But he's making a TTRPG different than the TTRPG he was going to make for Ember, but the same somehow.
Deceitful.
Where he is, I don't think he's deceitful. I think he's unorganized.
He's actually lied about it.
I think that's worse.
It's
worse.
What?
Unorganized.
Oh, I forgot that he said that. Dishonest. So being bad at business is worse than being dishonest and lying. Ooh, Craig, man.
Unorganized, you can be deceitful unknowingly.
Well, Blabs, maybe it's good that he lied, actually, because that would mean that he's not a disorganized idiot. That checks out. It's good that he lied, yeah.
All right, can I ask you a question then?
Sure.
Do you find it lying that you would say on your Twitter bio that you are the CEO of a video game, but you're not actually, and it's been discovered and you wipe that from your bio?
I gotta be honest, I don't. That's not that big of an issue to me.
Recently, they decided to do a great segment where they covered a tweet from Endymion TV, and he got his info wrong yet again.
He does. He's so bad.
From Endymion says, I just sent this from a Ubisoft insider. They're still pushing Pride Stuff month internally, and
dude, I don't believe any of the anti-wokers have insiders. I think they have. I think they're all doing the same thing that Smash did. Someone told them who it was, they looked up the name, and these people just feed them info and occasionally get it right.
Ubisoft still hasn't shown any internal help or post about men's health.
Oh, nice.
And here comes the inquisitive, wonderful Blabs with yet another win.
I'm starting to think this newsletter is from years ago. Because when you go and search "You Be Proud," The only thing that pops up is from 2020.
Damn, hold on. Blab's doing actual research instead of just reading it. Let's fucking go.
I think that maybe this thing existed, but it's not a new, like, Pride Month newsletter.
Okay,
did they take it down?
Oh yeah, if they take down a years-old cringe LGBT post off their website, that means I'll be able to start buying my Ubislop again. And as you'd expect, Craig comes into damage control over the fact that they are incorrectly reporting about a years-old post.
Remember, there are internal...
You saw it at the beginning, crazy research. The McDizzle Ubisoft thing is so funny how they still think it's identity theft. Yeah, I fucking silenced, we'll say, so many freaking people talking about that, because I actually went and read the laws involved with it, both the U.S. laws, which were not relevant to McDizzle, and the law that is in his country, and it's very vague, and I guarantee it's never been tested against something like this on the internet.
Right? This may publicly, it may be this way, but privately, there's always the public-facing portal, and then there's the private-facing portal in a lot of these big companies. So publicly, yes, you may not have access to the information, but privately, they may be saying other things.
True,
right?
but I'm just saying, like, the fact that they haven't said anything about UB Pride.
That's some crazy gymnastics from Craig to try and reason why.
Yours kind of seems a bit fishy to me.
And deep down, I think Blabs knows. I think Blabs knows that these people are complete idiots, don't fact check anything, and just spout whatever they can for engagement. And you know, even if she doesn't think that way, at least she's honest about it. She doesn't just immediately run defense the way Craig does. Here she is having the guts to say that Rey's theme from Star Wars, the soundtrack, is actually alright.
With this, and I'll even give a really hot one. Rey's theme is phenomenal. She sucks. The character sucks, but the theme, I love it. Love it.
This guy hears something about the Disney Star Wars films being good, and immediately has to jump in.
What an absolute garbage take, Blabs.
Well, see you guys.
Why? Because I like one thing.
Why? Because your opinion is AIDS. So that song,
So funny thing, watching Dicker's stream, y'all probably don't know who he is. Vincent will. He brought up, Rey does suck, yeah, I agree. He brought up a pretty decent stuff about the game, arguing with someone over kind of anti-woke stuff, slightly. And the Star Wars movies, I don't know if The Last Jedi did well, but like the other two made money. Like they weren't flops by any means of the thing, making like several $100 million.
be the only good track in the new.
In profit, let me say that.
I'll give you that.
Yeah, what's wrong with saying I like it? You just agree with me.
It is still the stage 4 cancerous bloody shit of the soundtrack. It's still garbage.
Huh? Listen,
it's a terrible song.
Listen.
And this is the thing. This guy is such a numbskull, he doesn't have any skills to actually criticize something. It's
Rise of the... Yeah, I agree. There was one thing that I hated in the, you getting into Star Wars, Rise of the Skywalker sucked more. There was one thing I hated in the Legends universe, and that was I don't remember if it was a comic or something like that. It was a comic, I believe, where Luke went to the dark side and they resurrected Palpatine. I hated that storyline so much. Just for the pure fact that it's not how I see Luke going. And it actually, because of the way Lucas did everything, other books that were being written had to adapt to that shitty take, right?
Term Mary Sue, and they've passively watched Maula's videos.
Oh God, I'm about to have a kid.
Information because they're too stupid, and they have nothing. Eventually, he says, oh yeah, it's like a Harry Potter thing, that's why it's bad, which is a take that he's stolen from Blabs and got wrong.
That's a shame because I'm right, and if you listen to it and you listen to Harry Potter, try to find it. It's the same song in the Harry Potter soundtrack, which is a good soundtrack.
No, it's not. Find it. The only two songs that are in Star Wars and Harry Potter together are in Episode 2 and Chamber of Secrets because they came out at the same exact time, and I have a whole video of that on my channel.
Right. You may want to revisit that channel and your videos. And yeah, anyway, and your opinion as well.
See, Blabs actually seems to care about this stuff as well. She's actually paid attention to content.
Mahler's videos are good, but his podcast is woeful. I don't mind EFAP for the most part. And I think I don't agree with like Mahler's. Well, no, I do in some ways. Like that, I don't necessarily agree with his things that there's things that are objectively bad. You know, I can see some agreement there, but he's not. From what I've seen, he sniffs his own farts. Yeah, I could believe that. But for me, like watching him, it's not as bad as watching these guys.
And analyzed it and made videos about it. What?
I mean, yeah, Mahler's coasting because EFAP is always going to make numbers. They don't just do, you know, movies and stuff like that. They do drama. They do everything.
Absolutely novel and crazy idea.
That's fine, because anytime you mention the word Disney, Star Wars, or Rey, it's automatically just
no. This has nothing to do with the Disney
actually
thing.
Looking at it with like, let me listen to the track. You know what? I like it. It's nice.
Yes, Blabs. Yes, Blabs. She's saying it. Oh, Blabs. Blabs, you're just so epic. One day I could give you a little boop on your nose.
There's so much dead air. Yeah.
Oh, Blabs. Oh my god, okay. I don't know what come over me there. Sorry.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, there was us. Check that out. This is where they got pissed about the Real Game Awards.
Yep.
That's awesome.
That's right, one of Craig's new ventures is starting an award show, the Real Game Awards. For real neckbeard Guna freaks. But we've got to give it to Craig, okay? He has ran some big conventions back in the Screw Attack days, so he knows how to put on a big show that the crowd are gonna really, really enjoy. And Craig was selling tickets to this event for $150 a pop. I don't know, I've never been to a big glitzy award show before, so I don't really know if that's a good price. But also, interestingly, it's $30 to vote. If you want your...
Bro Blabs is hilarious. I don't watch enough of her debates. Yeah, I feel like I need to watch her more. Maybe I'll see if she's willing to come on and talk with me or debate me about a subject.
If you want to own that...
If anyone I think might actually be good faith in the way they talk about it, it's probably her. Yep, the Real Game Awards.
Just slip a bit of cash into Craig's pocket.
Am I a scammer?
Okay, so let's look in. Jeff Keighley is about to look like a total chump.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the Real Game Awards. I'm Stuttering Craig, and I want to let you know, this is not an industry show.
Oh, cool. So this...
hey, Simon. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm going to watch some of the stuff. I already had planned to watch some of the Nick Caladra stuff, but I'm only probably watching 2 of the videos, so we'll see what time it is then. If not, I'll put your video in for the next one, probably Monday, because I'm hoping if I get some of the info I'm trying to get now. I just absolutely... Oh, I hate what I just did here. You see that? You see me filling that all up? But we'll definitely get on. It's one I want to learn more about Rez. I don't know enough about him, and you're my my resident Rez hater.
This is like a little prelude to the event. You know, a little pre-recorded bit.
And with that said, let's get to the awards for the first category. Best Story. Hey, games give us thrilling action.
Wait, this is the show? Where are the people that paid for the in-person tickets? Are there just a couple smelly Nintendo fans that hate women stood behind the camera?
Or Saturday. Saturday might be a good day for it too, right after Friday. Like I said, it all depends. If I don't get the info I need by Friday, we can do it. If not, it'll be Saturday.
There at the arcade.
Maybe we can watch a couple Rev videos. You can teach me about them. By the way, I'll send you Sephiron's response video in your Discord. Yeah, send it through, man. Hey, if y'all can start sending it, I know Vincent gave me a little bit of shit about it, but if y'all can start putting it in that reactions one I have, that just makes it easier for me to find it when I'm going through. Because I try and put things in my favorites, and it goes weeks all work for me. Okay.
Just a quick note, yes, this is how they have it set up for 2025, but if you use the Wayback Machine, this is the same structure they use for 2024, so they sold tickets for this last event, and they're selling tickets again for 2025's.
And the real game award for best story goes to, with 32% of your votes, Black Myth Wukong. Hey, congrats, Game Science.
This was such a riveting thing to watch. I watched this entire thing, and it is so bad. Why would you be trying to sell physical tickets again on the second one when your first one didn't do that well? Just doesn't make any sense to me.
That's it. Congrats, Game Science. And the rest is just exactly that, but cameos from his friends. But no, it's based. They have stuff like Best Jiggle Physics.
These are your nominees for Best Jiggle Physics. Zenless Zone 0, The First Descendant, Stellar Blade, and Lollipop Chainsaw. And the real game award.
One of those is an absolute failure.
For Best Jiggle Physics, with 72% of your vote goes to Stellar Blade.
As you'd expect, there are many more cringe moments, but when you see Stellar Blade winning over and over again, it starts to make you understand that putting an award show...
I don't know who she is. Hold on. Let's go back. I don't think I've ever seen... was that Savvy?
Jiggle Physics.
These are your nominees.
Oh, that's Savvy, right?
Jiggle Physics. Zenless Zone 0, The First Descendant, Stellar Blade, and Lollipop Chainsaw. And the real game award for the Best Jiggle Physics, with 72% of your vote.
With real clothes and makeup on.
Stellar Blade.
As you'd expect, there are many more cringe moments, but when you see Stellar Blade winning over and over again, it starts to make you understand that putting an award show in the hands of a bunch of brain-rotted morons isn't the best idea. But they do have at least...
And there's the leader of the brain-rotted morons right there. Old fucking Smash JT.
But when you see Stellar Blade winning a bunch of brain-rotted morons isn't the...
There he is, wearing his side-scrollers t-shirt. Yeah, the very I'm not like other girls. Her freaking, I don't know. She's such a weird account. I think she would do well just to get off of the gaming thing and go do her gotcha content, because she seems to enjoy doing that. And then I wouldn't have to hear her dumb takes anymore. There's enough Trent hate here for me.
Best idea. But they do have at least a little bit of a unique spin. That they'll also do awards like Game Industry's Biggest Failure, hosted by Arch. But then there's the headline act.
Oh.
Presenting the award for shitty-ass Game of the Year, Internet Icon, and the angriest gamer you've ever heard. The Angry Video Game Nerd.
James.
Great.
Wow.
No. Another award show. This one's called the Real Game Awards. I mean, come on. We're like the real Ghostbusters? Were there fake ones? I mean, that makes no sense.
But you're the APGN. Real There's nothing pure anymore. I know. About Cinemassacre truth in that. But this isn't... Wait. You know what? I think I get it. You know, when people get mad about Star Wars having gay orgy scenes now, this is my Star Wars. Nothing is pure anymore. Maybe it's time to post on Twitter about how the First Descendant is cool. I also have
Why did he show us liking that?
They're gonna do some wholesome game stuff.
Nerd Duel, a trivia show that combines Jeopardy, Mario Party, and Mortal Kombat. Yeah, it's fun. Blabs Versus, where we introduce sweet, innocent young Blabs to some of the most classic games ever made.
And I was gonna say, you know, Craig doesn't want to do the anti-woke stuff. He really just wants to do like normie gaming content, etc, etc. He's a grifter. But if you look at the past 2 weeks of the content they've put out, they haven't been doing any of this game stuff. They've just doubled down even more on the anti-woke stuff, and they're releasing like 5 videos a day of just these short shit, vapid clips. So maybe Craig's heart is in it, and he really does want to save the West through the media.
I feel like the anti-woke are still on this, like, the 15 minutes or whatever, you know, short clips things, but I'm seeing a lot more long-term content, like longer content get views. People like putting it on in the background and listen to someone talk about it and things like that.
A video game.
Later, Simon.
Criticism. So yeah, that's the video, but I do have a couple small announcements. One thing is a bit awkward. I am a leftist now. I've been watching a lot of Hassan, and you know, the guy, he talks a lot of sense, okay? Don't get too mad about it. But with that being said, there is one more breadtuber that I do want to talk about. You know, they're now years old, irrelevant videos, but I do think it's going to be really cool. So please subscribe, and thanks for watching.
I wonder who he's going to do it on. Chud Logic. All right.
It might be a bit too.
Whoa there, bud. Let's get on to the next one then. So, I mean, when it comes to Stuttering Craig, I've never really looked at him too much because he's one of the most brain dead. You can tell he's just going around, you know, just trying to get clout off of anyone he can get it off of. He's just a little wretched little fucking gremlin doing his thing. It's a slow ship to turn, and I think they're trying to 180 on anti-woke content as it's more and more gets less out of fashion, but that's when I'll make a video calling all that BS out. Yeah, Nazmir, what I think they're trying to do, if you watch what they're doing, they're all trying to shift to just plain politics. That's why they're going to try and get attention from Asmongold. You see Grums doing it too. They all suddenly care a lot about politics that they didn't really care about that much. You know, they did some things, but now it's almost it's almost like it's getting exclusive. Probably not. Tommy C is probably going to do more with that. Are you talking about Tommy C and Chud beefing? You don't just get to torpedo games discussion with a horde of brain dead 50 IQ takes of Siri is ugly, then pretend you never did that. Just now want to talk about games. Well, here's the thing, like going over to, and we'll be watching this next, because I guess the lefties went after this Nick Caldera guy at one point about a year ago, a little under a year ago, and then now the righties are after him. But yeah, it's I don't think it's going to go well for them. I don't think they're going to, like, most of them are probably going to get weeded out, right? They're already not doing well on their numbers. Their projects are failing. It's just going to slowly, a lot of them are just going to fade away, right? So we won't see him anymore in probably the next year or two, or at least not as hardcore. You'll probably still have some that are trying, like Smash. Endemion's not going to change unless the content for him clearly drops, and it doesn't, because he's so milquetoast. He doesn't say anything, but he says it the right way. Is what it comes down to him. But some of the other ones, yeah, they're just going to fall down and have to go get real jobs. But anyway, let's go ahead and move on to the next video. The next little section I've got at least two that we're going to watch here. And I want to find out about this Nick Caldera guy. I don't know much about him. Vincent sent it over to me. We'll learn. I am absolutely...
Oh, this guy's such a hack, bro. Follow through with the funniest part of what you said so far. So now we're doing per cut. Bro, this is absolutely insane.
No. I watched Chud live.
This video is not meant for mass appeal. It is meant to inform the SWG community and the developers and games media members who supported us along the way. That would include the 18,000 or so Patreon members and the over 400,000 YouTube subs, and anyone else who has ever associated with us as a group. I feel we owe a lot of our success to you, and you are entitled to know how things went down. As such, this video will assume you are somewhat in the know of who we are and who I am. If you don't, well, what a strange way to meet. I promise my production value is not this non-existent normally. The intended outline of this video will start with the prefacing 2 hang-ups people might have. 1 being, if Nick is so bad, then why did everyone resign with him? 2, is this some kind of alt-right grift? Then I'm going to go into my problems with Nick and SWG leading up to my resignation, followed by what I found out about Nick after my resignation. The original video ended up much longer and convoluted than I expected, so I trimmed this one down to maintain more of the focus on Nick's behavior and separate SWG from his actions. There are more details and problems that went on at SWG, and that can be in its own video. Apologies if you don't like sequels. There are 2 details above all others that create a little cognitive dissonance, making it hard to believe negative criticism of Nick Calandra. If Nick is so bad, then why did the others resign in solidarity? That's not how it went down. It just looked better for the news. How it went down is I warned everyone we were going to be fired because the executives were tired of Nick overpromising, overspending, and underdelivering, and were offering me his job. He had driven up costs by over 70% since the start of the year and lost somewhere around $30,000 to $60,000 per month on YouTube side alone, and getting worse. Only 3 people got to resign from the Escapist video team, myself and 2 others deemed profitable. Everyone else was fired. Yahtzee legally had to be the last to leave, so we wouldn't trigger a solicitation clause or no poaching clause. He wasn't poaching, but we didn't want to take any chances with whatever might be in his 15-year-old contract. Speaking for myself, there were a few hang-ups, but I liked the rest of the team, and Nick gave me a chance to get into the space to begin with, so I figured I could give him one as well. But now I've found out that even what I knew to be true at the time wasn't the full story. The rest of the team and I didn't know that Gamers was planning on sacking Nick and giving the rest of us creative freedom at The Escapist. Nick threw a fit, said The Escapist would never be profitable. Yes, there would be layoffs because Nick went on a hiring spree and his Prima project failed spectacularly, but the rest of us would get to do what we wanted with the channel. Essentially, Nick threw us under the bus due to his failure to deliver on what he promised. The second detail from the perspective of a vocal minority is that this is some kind of alt-right grift attack against Nick. No, Nick has slighted many people with all kinds of ideologies and political views. I, unlike Nick, am not really the type to give unsavory people on Twitter the time and attention, and trying to frame it as me standing with them as a distraction from the fact that the intent of this is to point out that Nick Calandra specifically is the worst type of person that can end up in games media. He's been highly unethical, and the unfortunate effects of this is the validity of everything that's been published under his tenure will now come into question. I traced it as far back as August 2017 when Nick did not publicly disclose that one of the studios he was making a documentary for had offered a minimum $4,000 investment to get his fan-funded Kickstarter across the line. Since then, he's been trying to make bigger and bolder moves. They just don't pan out how you'd expect them to, I suppose. Claims to stand up for workers, developers, creatives, and consumers, essentially branding himself and the crew as the change to the games industry.
Let's see here. Pax West. These last few months, all these channels have tried to say, hold on, let's do this. I have a thing for this. Boop, look at that transition. The last few months, all these channels have tried to say that I'm an activist, and it's not like, fuck yeah, I am. And it's like, fuck yeah, I am. I'm an activist for game developers to make what they want and not to be abused by corporations. I'm an activist for good games media and got fired for pushing for it every day. I'm an activist for pushing for good in the industry and uplifting creative people in it. The only thing these channels are activists for is putting money in their pockets. Okay. He fought for Smash JT after Grums.
Boom. Desperately needs.
You probably expect me to end this video by saying something like, it's social media, so none of this really matters anyway. People are going to play the game regardless because the vast majority don't care how something is made and just want to have fun. Well, alright, that's all true. But what's also true is that we at Second Wind and you, the person watching this right now, spend a lot of time thinking about online conversations like this, or otherwise you wouldn't be here. Maybe you'll end up having actual interesting discussions about things like AI, unions in the game industry, plagiarism, games media, oh, and my personal favorite, out-of-touch executives.
His actions, however, have been anything but noble. During my short time at The Escapist and at SWG, he attempted to steer content in a direction that validated his views and minimized criticism of his biases and underhandedly tried to micromanage every creative decision. He isolated, overworked, verbally attacked, and manipulated his coworkers. He blackballed developers that asked for game coverage one too many times for his liking, even though he set himself as the direct point of contact for the group, and was actively against the idea of us giving free shoutouts or small deals to smaller devs who couldn't afford it. He would then try to funnel them back his way to bargain for paid consultations. All the while, he misrepresented audience feedback to exert his vision on the channel and misled the team and community about the cost of running a business in order to appeal to their sympathy and draw out...
Hold on. Boop. Let's go back there a little bit. I might have to move. This one's got a lot of writing in it, so we're just going to go to reading. Boop. There we go. Let's move back here and get some of this. Yeah, that's about right. Boom.
His actions, however, have been anything but noble. During my short time
at... tried to steer content to validate his own views, tried to minimize criticism, obsessively micromanaged.
Direction that validated his views and minimized criticism of his biases and underhanded...
Oh, well, he was just going to say it, huh?
Decision. He isolated, overworked, verbally attacked, and manipulated his coworkers.
Let's see here. At Frost, I apologize for my part in the butting of heads we've been having lately. I've been stressed, depressed. Oh, God. There's very few things that get me hot more than someone using mental health to manipulate someone else. And it seeps into the meetings I have and have been with people. I've always had your back creatively and will continue to do so. You're extremely talented, and if my management came across as getting in the way of your success, that was never my intention. I wanted everyone on this team to succeed and be the best that they can be. If that hasn't come across, that is on me, and I apologize. I do not want to have an odd relationship with you, and hopefully these changes in management help with that. So what is Second Wind exactly? Is it like one of those content creator groups that like where they're all in one company, or is it something else? Let's see. Second Wind Entertainment Group. Second Wind is a video game-based entertainment outlet focusing on video games and other forms of popular media. The group received significant media attention upon its formation, having been founded by a former team of the escapist media outlet, including the editor-in-chief Nick Caladra, the star of Benjamin Richard, the British journalist. I think I remember him. And then The Escapist was a magazine. Yeah. I don't think I ever read The Escapist. Oh, wait.
He blackballed developers that asked for game coverage one too many times for his liking, even though he set himself as the direct point of contact for the group.
What this happening now is after Grums accused him of doxing, by the way. So Grums accused Nick of doxing? That's kind of crazy.
And was actively against the idea of us giving free shout-outs or small deals to smaller devs.
Okay. Hey, thank you so much for the answers. No worries about that. Thank you for trying, though. I really appreciate it. I do not know when I spammed them, but to be honest, I only had weird experiences with them before, so I do not care what they think about me. I ready your tweet and hope that everything is all right for you and wish you all the best of the future. I reached out to apologize after I resigned. Yeah, send mini stream keys for blank to the team for a giveaway in the stream when you began the Second Wind, and it seems like they were not sent out or something else, since like 90% were not redeemed, and I got no email in response yet. Uh-oh. Send out Steam key to one of the review persons who loved Hollow Knight and wanted to give it a try, but it seemed like I got forgotten or something like that. No answer and updated this month. My messages got read, but I never got a single answer from Nick. I mean, if I had just sent me a message like fuck off or stop spamming, I would just have given up and say, okay, I see what's going on.
Devs who couldn't afford it. He would then try to funnel them back.
That's crazy.
For paid consultations. All the
Come on. There we go. Frost. He was very open about taking our sales clients and consulting for them personally for extra cash on the side, but that's all I got. No screenshots or nothing. I mean, he mentioned it publicly in a meetings, right? And no, probably on my deactivated Slack. Yeah, but I don't think anyone really got the severity of what he was saying. All right, appreciate it. No one realizes how shitty it was. So this guy is just like one of those fucking terrible men. He's like Grums. He yells at people. He's micromanager. He doesn't want to work with anyone else.
He would then try to funnel them back his way to bargain for.
The thing is that other Frost doesn't have the proof that Nick did any of this. So it's all kind of hearsay at this point. It's just stuff like this.
Paid consultations. All the while, he misrepresented audience feedback to exert his vision on the channel.
At Frost, I'm going to use the non-review thumbnail for today's cold take to do a little A and B test. So don't change it. It's on this one. I don't think that's a good idea. I think the separation is better so people know what to expect on a Monday cold take. And then when I get back to the industry talking videos, they won't have a review on them. I mainly need to see how the algorithm reacts. Changing thumbnails can have a negative effect sometimes, so I want to see the data there.
Channel and misled the team and community about the cost of running a business in order to appeal to their sympathy and draw more money.
Hey folks, hope you've been having a good week and are looking forward to the weekend. As we head into March, we're starting to see our first sizable dip on Patreon. No red alarm bells or anything. We've been working hard to diversify our revenue streams through merch, sponsorships, and the usual organic ad revenue from YouTube. But we would like to try and keep Patreon at a 60K month mark on or above so that we can cover most of our monthly cost salaries and continue banking the additional revenue stream for long-term stability. If you have been considering supporting, feel free to take a look at our Patreon and see if there's a tier that's right for you. Is this going out publicly, I guess, to his Discord? If you've been considering supporting, even $1 a month is more valuable to us than thousands of views on a video. So it may not seem like a lot, but collectively it all adds up. I'm begging for money, but does he have any evidence on him misrepresenting it?
Money from them. And all of this is so he can finally fulfill his creative vision, and when pressed on why he is paid as much as he is, he responds, "I've gotten accustomed to a certain lifestyle, and I have a mortgage to pay." In 6 months, his business decisions, content strategy, and community management raised our costs, just our cost, from somewhere around $600,000 to a forecasted ballooning $1 million cost operation, and eroded our goodwill and income, which he leveraged to make more decisions. For clarification, I don't believe Nick intentionally tanked SWG's value. From what I could find and from my experience, Nick doesn't set out with the intent to fail, and is stubborn about using the same failed plan.
Thousands of views on a video is absolutely more valuable than $1 a month. Yeah, absolutely. Unless you have more than 10 people donating $1 a month. I mean, it's nice. Like, Patreon is a nice idea, but I think it can end up being a false sense of security for a lot of people. Like, not everyone has the audience that H Bomber Guy has, where he can make a video once a year, you know, and people will still keep paying for his Patreon. So I think he does stuff in the Patreon, but just, I have one opened. I haven't promoted it yet because I'm not even monetized. The monetization of my channel, if that ever happens, would be, to me, worth more than somebody giving me money through a Patreon, you know?
He's been using for the past 6 years. You can see on screen what is essentially Caladra's thumbprint across Gamumentary, The Escapist, Prima, and now Second Wind. He's been made aware by others and myself that what he does doesn't work. It's the whole reason everyone was fired to begin with. He refuses to change his ways and actively sabotages anyone who tries to help him or notify the rest of the team.
I don't know much about thumbnails. Mine are all garbage. So I don't have much of a point here, but yeah, if your thumbnails aren't catching the attention of people, and your oh, what's it called? Your title isn't catching the people, then maybe you need to change it up.
And while I do hold Nick 99% accountable for SWG's problems, the structure within SWG was unstable from the start and falling apart, and most of the times I butted heads was when I tried to slow things down to reevaluate our costs and stop the overspending instead of pushing more people to the Patreon and milking the community.
Okay, what is this? Second Wind's revenue report. YouTube, 39,000. Twitch, 1,000. Patreon, 164,000. Jesus. Merch, 1,000. Yeah, most people don't make money off of merch. Sponsors, 69,000. And donations were 992. Salaries were $223,000. Freelance, 5,000. Business. So wins revenue report. Oh, so is this do they have backers, or were they just reporting on it? Like, where did this come from? Oh, it's their Q2 2024. Gotcha. So yeah, they were running themselves into the ground when, man, they should have been able to. I don't know how many people are there. This feels like one of those things where a YouTube channel hires too many people and then wonders why their channel tanks.
Community we already had to capitalize on the momentum. This is a team of talented creatives who just wanted to make things. They didn't have the desire to get as involved with Nick's power grabs, and of the leads that routinely took charge, none of them were qualified to make business decisions or content strategy. SWG didn't choose Nick to lead, it's just no one else wanted it. Even I didn't want a lead role.
Reminds me of Geeks and Gamers spending a fuck ton on a content house, then making no content in it. Yeah, there's like several. A lot of bread tubers. I watch Chud Logic, so a lot of bread tubers have been falling out. And like one of the ones we were watching, the guy was he scammed his. In my opinion, it's a scam. It was legitimate. His fans for $150,000 in a GoFundMe, but he wasn't making videos. Like if he just put out more content, since that was his only job, he probably would have been able to make money. And on top of it, he was throwing money away like there's no tomorrow. It's people who aren't businessmen not doing the business. They just think the money's going to keep flowing in and growth's just going to keep happening.
Myself and 3 others are qualified to help, but saying so made us seem argumentative, defensive, and arrogant. The specific event that finally made me see there was no chance for change was when I asked one lead if they were afraid Yahtzee would leave if they kicked Nick out, and this lead said SWG would be fine without Yahtzee. The group would get to keep his salary, the money in the war chest, and that would buy them enough time to find their way again. This lead in particular encouraged an every man for themselves mindset from early on that led to strong arming within the group. This was essentially the same conversation I had with the executives of Gamers back at The Escapist that convinced me to leave then as well. I don't believe someone like that who can't perceive value is the kind of person that should be appointing themselves as HR, evaluating people's worth in the company, firing people, and then issuing statements about how the problems are just the usual growing.
Frost, okay. Yahtzee, Evergreen, and Frost. I could say I don't agree with these kind of like we all go into business. Like, yeah, there's been companies that have worked, like who's the computer guy that sucks absolute dog shit but makes millions because he got big. Not Tech USA. God, I don't remember his name. Anyway, where it has worked, but I feel like most of these don't. It's like, just make yourself make your YouTube videos on your own. Linux, that's him, that fucking dude. It's better to try and grow on your own than to jump into one of these group things and try and split revenue, right? Because if one guy's more popular than the others, Yahtzee's video streams make up to 51% of the revenue, 51.10 of output. Once direct sales are included, his content turns a small profit. Evergreen did 25.62%. videos before 2023, the majority which are old Yahtzee videos, with some exceptions. Frost output 8.9% of revenue from 11.22% of output, compared to non-Frost, non-Yahtzee output delivery 18.4. Gotcha. On average return $73. Yeah, seems like they weren't making money.
Growing pains. For my part, I believe this had to be public-facing because I exhausted every other avenue, and I believe Nick Calandra's standards of conduct and how he drives SWG go against everything.
Let's see. I have resigned from Second Wind. This is when Frost resigned. I'll say more later, but I do not want people to know where their money support is going in the meantime. But I want people to know where their money support is going. And this is him. This is his take. When I joined Second Wind, I was under the assumption that we were forming a team of creatives with equal value and equal say. Individual creators would oversee their personal series, and the group would decide how to run the business together. It is plain as day that we have recreated the toxic corporate environment we abandoned, led by a prudent wannabe CEO who overspends, overpromises, underdelivers, sows division, tarnishes our image, assertive creative vision, or rather creative blindness, and sabotages everyone attempts to correct him, all while he fails his most basic duties, joyrides around the world, clout farms, and expects the community of Yahtzee to foot the bill because Nick Calandra tanks our YouTube revenue and makes us undesirable for sponsors. It's beyond incompetent. Nick Calandra operates in bad faith. Well, he's kind of all saying this. I don't really need to go through this whole thing. Yeah, a co-op. Well, it's like when you have this, every time I've seen this, there's like always one YouTuber who's the breadwinner per se. Though it sounds like it wasn't Nick Calandra. It sounds like, is Yahtzee Nick Calandra? Still trying to learn all these people. It's just never a good idea. Do the content on your own. Don't get involved in one of these co-ops, and you end up, you either live or die by how talented you are, right? If people want to enjoy you, they'll enjoy you.
We claim to stand for as a business. We're supposed to stand up for consumers, creatives, developers, workers, especially now when the industry looks so bleak. As far as I'm concerned, I believe Nick Calandra goes against the ideals he claims to uphold, misleads public perception.
I haven't watched, I've never watched any of this Second Wind content. A lot of the stuff that I watched in the olden days was mostly game reviews and gameplay stuff. I didn't get huge into the wider YouTube audience until maybe a couple of years ago. And then it ended with last year or the year before, whenever Chud and them went after Mama Max. Was me finding the commentary community that I love to watch. So no, yeah, a lot of these guys I do not know.
Perception and actively profits from it. As part owner, employee at the time, and someone with a history of calling out these practices alongside Nick himself, I believe the right thing to do was to resign and inform the public. I did not leave because SWG refused to fire Nick. When I was asked if I'd leave if Nick stayed, I said I would continue to work in SWG to the best of my duties. The problems continued after that. I did not leave because the head of sales was fired. I barely knew them, as we had both been kept in isolation, and Nick fed me lies blaming the head of sales for our problems. My resignation was written before they were fired on August 1st. Feel free to check whoever steps forward as the public representative for SWG, as details are kept vague. But now everything else I've found after my resignation that I'm about to get into is pointed solely at Nick Calandra. It takes away any claim Nick might have of being unaware and unable to control himself. It also recontextualizes our history and fills in the gaps for a lot of questions.
Yeah, this is him just going over more of that stuff.
Questions I had. After I resigned, his former coworkers and bosses reached out to me with allegations of experiencing the same behavior and worse throughout the past 6 years and multiple outlets he's worked at. I made sure to find as many sources as I could to back
wow.
As well as.
Actually, quick tip, be mindful of Calandra potentially stalking your socials. He did that to me for close to a year anytime I said anything related to game press work, until I finally blocked him. Hopefully that doesn't happen to you as well. But yeah, it's super weird. Okay.
years and multiple outlets he's worked at.
Weird behavior.
I found as many sources as I could to back up each claim, as well as do my due diligence to try and refute it. I verified the credibility of each piece of evidence and each individual, and I've also gone the lengths to vet some of the people Nick himself pointed me towards. He was once again lying and trying to delegitimize people. And
after my resignation, Nick called out 5 people specifically during this time working with him. He made allegations against 6 different individuals in the gaming media. One of those sources was Kirk. Okay. None of them knew Nick was holding a grudge and didn't know him or believed they were on good terms. When I dug into Nick's issues with them, I covered more of his unethical behavior. Nick disparages people who may or may not know a thing or two about him in order to preemptively delegitimize their concerns. So, I mean, maybe a lot of this stuff is coming out. Hopefully he'll give us some testimony instead of just writing this stuff out. Because right now we're still in the hearsay portion of it. Nick sounds like a fucking douchebag, and I could believe that, you know, but I want to see more.
And their claims. I will show what I can, but a lot of sources were given in confidence due to fear of retaliation.
A lot of them still don't know the full extent. Okay.
From Nick, or any consequences that may come from speaking out in the industry. Here's what I found on top of the stuff I personally experienced already. In a few words, Nick Calandra has a history of highly unethical behavior in games media and just in general, including everything else I've mentioned so far, plus taking equipment and product meant for press and publications under the guise of coverage and...
Classic, did one of you say Nick took a VR system intended for press as his own? Do you remember the brand? Because I have another claim that he's done it through a documentary. Words are hard. Not sure if that's the same one. I would have been something older around February 2018. The dev gave it to him with good intentions, but my thought was don't accept gifts from people you're covering. Yeah, that's a fair take. Which we found out later was already done with the Kickstarter donations. So he's done it twice. MetaQuest 3
keeping it for
is the one that...
Based on evidence found, Nick seems to have been using his own personal Steam account as the main Steam account for each of his publications he's worked at for over the past 10 years, allowing hundreds of press codes for games to be funneled.
Like even in this, we go back to this one right here. This is... I would have been something older than 2014 the dev gave him. Like, I don't know. I'm not confident in this claim.
And keeping it for personal use. Based on evidence found, Nick seems to have been using his own personal Steam account as the main Steam account for each of his publications he's worked at for over the past 10 years, allowing hundreds of press codes for games to be funneled directly into his personal Steam account rather than that of any individual publication. They follow him where he goes. Now back.
Okay, it says Second Wind. How do you know it's... I mean, you probably know it's his, but how do you convince me that it's his?
Back to the rest of the stuff. Offsetting his costs with income from other sources to mislead associates. Consistent overpromising, underspending, and under-delivering that put other people's jobs on the line when layoffs come through. Pushing...
What was that? Data showing that Nick doubled YouTube videos losses in 1 year because he overhired and pushed out more projects while most of the revenue came through myself and Yahtzee. Proof. Back at The Escapist, Nick took money from the editorial side to pump up the losses of the videos side. Executives didn't like that and split editorial and video side so Nick couldn't misrepresent it to anyone. Okay. Yeah, it's showing the different ones where it's losing money. But I mean, is this... You're saying a lot of bad things about Nick. And if he's the one doing the hiring of these videos, I agree, right? Overhiring tends to be one of the biggest problems YouTubers make. They think they can become a content farm like Turkey Tom or someone like that, and they end up paying for it because they hire too many people.
Promising, underspending, and under-delivering that put other people's jobs on the line when layoffs come through. Pushing for content that validated his own views and tastes while discouraging...
Unsure about its potential relevance, but I remember this Restera thread about one of our docs where Nick was getting into arguments with people in the comments. Thread is from July 18th. Arguing with people in the comments is never a good idea. The thread is from July 18th, so after our intervention with him, but was definitely a moment where I knew I'd made the right decision to move on. For context, the doc was about Kingdom Come Deliverance. That was the game had been, and prior Hot Water, yeah. Because the head of the company was a gamer gator, and the game itself was not at all diverse. You sound a little soy here. The doc approached this controversy purely from Warhorse Studios' angle without critically examining it, which some views thought was a bad call, causing Nick to argue with them. I recall broaching the idea with Nick prior to the shoot, but after the controversy began, that we just wouldn't do this documentary and find something else to supplement it. But such an interaction must have happened over voice chat because I don't have a record of it. This angst he builds up against Restera was also one of the things that prompted his feud. So this guy was just fighting with everybody, it sounds like.
Any content that took a stance against his own biases, prioritizing his own raises and money.
Nick promised his worker, this is just him saying stuff.
Back the upwards mobility of his coworkers and also prioritizing his publicity to the detriment of others. Cyberstalking his peers in the field to the point of making them uncomfortable, slandering.
I'm going to say this guy's losing me a little bit. This text on the screen while just saying stuff over is such a fucking terrible way to do a video. So I have to stop every 10 seconds to read this because what he's saying is similar to it. It seems to be a bias of people who contacted other Frost after, yeah.
Libeling, blackballing, and threatening to mobilize his audience against people in the games industry with the explicit intent to harm their careers.
The last few months, all of these channels have tried to say I'm a activist. Oh yeah, we already read that one.
Creating hostility in the work environment by lying, manipulating, gaslighting, and isolating people who disagree with him or are shown to be more capable than him. Trading positive press, positive reviews, and documentary opportunities without disclosing that publishers were paying for his trips, paying for the documentaries, and Nick was bargaining for future employment. This isn't stuff.
Okay, these are a lot of wild claims that are coming out here. I'm still waiting for some evidence, some proof, something that's just not you talking about it and putting text up on the screen.
It happened only 6 years ago. This was happening while we were at SWG and Escapist and every other outlet he worked at for the past 6 years. Now, this part's going to sound personal, but it's relevant and sets up the next point. A lot of Nick's behavior comes from a sense of entitlement, feeling like he is owed stuff. But a lot of Nick's behavior also comes from resentment. He feels wronged by people in games media, and Nick holds grudges. The issue is that Nick also has a problem with perception. It creates this catch-22 where if Nick wrongs you, and the issue is...
I value discussion as well, but his audience for weeks now has been incredibly hostile to me, even though I have been on the show before talking about my philosophy in covering games and have always been critical of both games media and grifters. I don't feel exactly inclined to give my time to an audience that's going in actively hates my guts.
Is that Nick also has a problem with perception. It creates this catch-22 where if Nick...
What did you say? I love when YouTubers mind read. Yeah. It's pretty, it's I don't know. If you're going to make a video like this, you have to have something to bring up besides he's a deadbeat.
Nick wrongs you and you stand up for yourself, then he feels he can retaliate. But if Nick wrongs you and you don't do anything, then he thinks you're holding it in and plotting your revenge, which angers him, so he feels he can strike first. And anything can set him off. Important example here. For as long as I've known Nick, he hated this one specific individual with a passion, and what drove him up the walls was the way this person pretended to not know Nick.
Space Ghost? Or Moggle?
I reached out to this guy, and lo and behold, he actually didn't know who Nick was. You can check...
I mean, that's funny.
Twitter if Nick leaves this up by the time this goes through and see that he has never acknowledged Nick.
But also, even with these, like, messages... the man hates the most don't know Nick exists. I mean, I'll be gracious and say that these are probably texts. I have no reason to believe that he's lying here. I genuinely don't know the guy. I realized after that interaction that he was the dude who got duped by Grums, and I might have made a plethora of tweets about that. But I'm starting to remember this guy now in the Grum situation. This is Kirk. The Space Ghost tipped me off to that. Gotcha.
Was. You can check Twitter if Nick leaves this up by the time this goes through and see that he has never acknowledged Nick once, but Nick has tweeted at him. I went and double checked with somebody else to make sure this guy really didn't know Nick, and he has given...
I mean, that's funny, being such a loser that you hate someone who doesn't even acknowledge your existence. I can't say that I don't do the same, or at least for the most part, some people ignore me. I know Will of the Fans knows who I am, and he likes to tell people, and some of the others have interacted with me. A lot of the big guys, though, have just blocked me at one point or the other.
Given the exact same responses, he genuinely didn't know Nick. Nick's arch nemesis wasn't pretending to not know him. He didn't know he even existed, and Nick was holding a one-sided grudge this entire time.
Nice.
To set off some red flags, I reached out to a few more people I knew Nick had problems with.
But the dude is lying? You talking about Frost? Or are you talking about Kirk? So, I mean, because if Kirk has tweeted at him, I suppose that's possible. I don't know anything about the Kirk guy. Let's see here. We'll keep going. So, I don't know. I'm hoping to see more, because right now, what this guy's showing me isn't building a very good story to what's going on,
and found
or
out
bringing up any evidence.
Knew of Nick, but didn't know Nick was beefing with him. He also tried to delegitimize the head of sales with a message that appeared to be from a disgruntled employee of his prior to joining SWG, but that did not check out. I had enough on Nick already to know he was well aware of his actions and now being insincere. When I told him I was going to continue investigating the claims that popped up and allow him the chance to explain himself, his demeanor completely changed back to the Nick I knew, accusing me of acting out of malice with the sole intent of running him out of games media. I do feel Nick was willing to say anything I was willing to hear at the time to try and prevent me from going through with it. The moderator agreed that truth should come forward. Nick panicked and named people he believed had it in for him from his days at Gamumentary, saying they forced him into a meeting to assert ownership under false pretenses and that he offered them jobs when he sold the brand and they turned him down.
If you run that, then I will do what I need to do.
Well, sure. See, this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, like they pulled me into a meeting on false pretenses under the four of them, where they tried to basically assert their ownership on Gamumentary despite not having paid any of the taxes, despite not having paid any of the business expenses. There's some contract they sent you. I don't remember what I signed on that, but that whole thing ended ugly, but that was not, like, I did not screw them out of money in any form on that. I tried to get them full-time jobs. They didn't want it. Kyle.
Okay, that's a that's a pretty dumbass statement, if you ask me. Like, you didn't read the contract?
There's some contract they sent you. I don't remember what I signed on that, but that whole thing ended ugly, but that was not, like, I did not screw them out of money in any form on that. I tried to get them full-time jobs. They didn't want it. Kyle, Bailey, Jake.
Okay. So yeah, it looks like that did happen. Window capture. Boom. Why did it go way down there? Why did you go way down there, you? Open back up. Oh, it's probably because it's... Let's do this. Boop. There we go, before I messed everything up. I don't know how well you can read that. I can't really scroll in more, but Space Ghost attacking Nick, who's... I remember these tweets now. I didn't know much about the guy, so I didn't pay attention to it, but I remember this happening. Attacking Nick, who's on our side, because you have a personal problem with him is actually a way worse look. I don't even know the dude. You literally do, and this isn't the first time you've done this. Stop lying for optics. Okay. So is this just like these guys are like I've seen Space Ghost, but I don't watch a lot of her stuff. Well, I don't watch any. I've seen her on X, I guess is the most that I have on her. This is just absolutely. Let's not do that. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. That's not the right one, apparently. Where you at? Nope, not there. Old man again. It's not this one. What the fuck is going on here? Where'd you go? She don't like that. Don't attack him or he's on our side. Grum's fan behavior. Is she an anti-woker? Or at least, I guess, on that side. Let's see. Boom. There we go. There we go. I hate that. I do hate that sentiment where he's on our side. So it's starting to come back to me a little bit, but like I said, I didn't really pay attention to this. It's lame. See more on the woke side of things. You're seeing it a lot more though, or it's starting to become a lot more common with the right as well. Nah, she's woke if you have to label it. Okay.
Trips and job opportunities and
Oh, that was the wrong one.
Ethereal. That was a lie at the time, as I have the written document of the intervention that was held, as well as the audio recording of the meeting in which they gave Nick plenty of warning and asked him if he wanted to continue.
See, when I turned from the anti-woke, we'll say, it was my main content was wasn't Demion, because it was really easy and palpable. I didn't know who a lot of these people were. Even Smash JT, the only thing I knew about Smash JT was he was lightly a part of the completionist stuff, but I didn't really start seeing him until I turned into the anti-woke and saw this plethora of people. So I'm still learning a lot of these crazy people in this culture war space, and it's a lot of fun.
Nick used to run a site called Only SP. It did okay, and then it didn't, so he sold it.
Only what?
He then tried again with Gamumentary. It was run on the hard work of volunteers, and at times staff members pitched in to cover costs. Needing funds, Nick launched a Kickstarter for $22,000. They made it, but only because Nick accepted a $4,000 investment from Outpost Games. Seems he has a history of cashing in on a community's goodwill, and also a history of unethically blending the lines between PR and journalism. He was trying to get into the PR business and has a journalism
transparent. Oh, this is just American press
degree, so surely he knew the difference between PR and journalism and the ethics surrounding the two. Ever since then, Nick's been trading good press coverage and even reviews for favors, gifts, trips, and job opportunities. One such opportunity was when he sold Gamumentary to Enthusiast Gaming in exchange for documentaries and a salaried job opportunity for himself and no one else on the staff. The sale was propped up on his staff's hard work, and Nick used it to leverage a job for himself at Enthusiast Gaming. A group of 4 had a meeting with Nick to air out their grievances and work out their demands. They told him what the meeting was about, and he agreed to stay.
I will be asking him. I think I decided I'll read the thing with maybe a little bit of embellishment, probably not that much. And I'm not sure. Should I like ask after I finish that little paragraph? Like, is this okay? Like, are you willing to listen?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. And then we can continue on down. And then once we get past the issues and stuff, before we get to the demands, I just want to hear what he has to say.
Yeah, I agree.
If anything. Sorry if it seems like intervention-y. It doesn't we don't mean for it to feel that way. We just wanted to basically have a meeting and talk about stuff. Are you down to listen?
Mm-hmm.
The grievances were sale of site without consult.
What? Can I get more? Oh, that's a video I have to make too. If the angry Canadian is still here, compromised content where there's so much bribery in the gaming world. Yeah, it's it's how do I put it? Like we talk about the back and forth between the big gaming guys and stuff like that, but it's just as prevalent in the smaller side as well. He's going to have more? Okay. It's in a lot of other industries too, makeup especially.
Consulting staff and no transparency on the details of the deal. No clarity of vision with site or YouTube channel. Extreme amount of micromanaging. Complete control of the shoots, but he didn't have the knowledge or experience to perform the task correctly. Lack of transparency overall and making major decisions without discussing fully with executives.
Okay, so these are the points they're going to bring up.
Executive or staff meetings are often disregarded or ignored soon after. Lack of respect of site members. The demands he agreed to, legally binding contracts concerning documentary rights, full transparency of the budget, clarification of roles, streamlined creative workflow, better organization surrounding docs, PR support for all content.
Sort of.
Not under any circumstances agree to communicating business decisions with the team. Even if it wouldn't change anything about the decision, he chose to keep the team in the dark. According to him, they had no financial stake in the company whatsoever, even though he repeatedly promised pay, and it was the work of the volunteers that boosted Gamumentary's value to make a sale in the first place. Each one resigned during that meeting, and in the end, he didn't tell them how much the site was purchased for.
Like, I'm completely aware. I'm not saying you don't have a stake in the site. You've worked on the documentaries and all that, and I totally plan to compensate you guys for that. But those are not the financial dealings of the site are mine and mine alone.
Wow.
You can't. Like literally my name is on the domain name. I pay the bills.
That's fine. We're not saying that necessarily.
I pay the taxes on the site.
It's that for morale to improve across the team, that cannot go forward. In order for us to feel like a team and not peasants in a kingdom, that process has to change.
The financial, that's not the business dealings of the site. The financials of the site are with me.
I think it's time for us to kind of come to a point in a way. I'm going to speak for myself here. There were things that I was hoping to get out of this meeting in terms of changes, agreed upon changes that we kind of went through, et cetera. And Nick, the truth is, I don't feel like there is enough change coming from you in terms of actually wanting to make the site better and own up to mistakes that have been made by you or by others or by all of us. And quite frankly, at this point, I'm out. I'm out of the website. I don't want to be part of this anymore if my effort and my work for more than a year, more than 30 plus pieces of content is not going to be appreciated. And
serious,
that there's not going to be any changes going forward.
I ran OASP for 4 years, and people did a hell of a lot more work for me than you've done.
Damn. All right. So in the end, they were asking for was better communication to know how much the site was sold for. Yeah, I can understand that. Even in, in most businesses, you're going to have some kind of, quarterly earning reports and things like that. And major companies will not necessarily give you the exact numbers, I guess, but this is a much smaller group, right? And most of them were volunteers. Let me go back here. Trying to put it together, but I think I'm off base.
But those are not the financial.
Okay.
They had no financial stake in the company whatsoever, even though he repeatedly promised pay, and it was the work of the volunteers that boosted Gamumentary's value to make a sale in the first place. Each one resigned during that meeting, and in the end, he didn't.
Okay. So they wanted better communication.
Financial dealings of the site are mine and mine alone.
Because they wanted to make money. This isn't great, but remember, he did try to get them jobs. Right. He sounds like he's not a very good leader in general, and he sounds pretty greedy and things like that. But I don't know. I guess it depends on where they sit within the company. If they came in with volunteer work and he was promising them pay, I think that's absolutely, dog shit, right? asking for better communication is great, but if everything's in his name, there's not much you can do with it but quit, right?
Oh.
I think that's what we disagree with.
You can't. Like literally my name is on the domain name. I pay the bills.
That's fine. We're not saying that necessarily.
I pay the taxes on the site.
It's that for morale to improve across the team, that cannot go forward. In order for us to feel like a team and not peasants in a kingdom, that process has to change.
The financial, that's not the business dealings of the site. The financials of the site are with me.
I think it's time for us to kind of come to a point in a way. I'm going to speak for myself here.
Yeah, I mean, even with giving them the job on this kind of thing, if your employees are dissatisfied, you should be more transparent. This is a very small situation by the sounds of it, and these guys are working for nothing essentially. I think if you're going to be a good, businessman, good runner, this would be a situation where you need to be transparent and actually show these dudes, hey, this is where the money is going. It is going to the right place. This is why I can't fucking pay you guys right now, because the business is flipping over and you agreed to volunteer. When we see this much growth, I should be able to start making paychecks. Something like that. Like what they're asking for, I don't think is out of base, especially since they're volunteering, hoping to get paid more, and with you promising.
There were things that I was hoping to get out of this meeting in terms of changes, agreed upon changes that we kind of went through, etc. And Nick, the truth is, I don't feel like there is enough change coming from you in terms of actually wanting to make the site better and own up to mistakes that have been made by you or by others or by all of us. And quite frankly, at this point, I'm out. I'm out of the website. I don't want to be part of this anymore if my effort and my work for more than a year, more than 30 plus pieces of content is not going to be appreciated. And
serious,
that there's not going to be any changes going forward.
I ran OSP for 4 years, and people did a hell of a lot more work for me than you've done.
That statement right there is bullshit too. I would probably lose my shit on this guy in a fucking meeting, because that's not the fucking point of it. It's the point of this whole thing. You're running this business. They want more transparency. It doesn't even sound like they're demanding pay. They just want to know what you're doing with the money to make sure you're not fucking them over.
Okay, let's stop insulting people.
One last question, just kind of a shot in the dark here. How much is Enthusiast paying for Gamumentary and the site as a whole?
I'm not telling you that.
Okay.
Why? Why is that a number that you don't want to put out there?
But after talking to Nick's former coworkers from various outlets, I continued to find threads and trends that led back to his Gamumentary days. Even the little things became big things. Example, Nick drew heavy criticism back when he made the Kingdom Come Deliverance documentary. The head of the company was a Gamergator and shared alt-right views. Nick approached this controversy purely from Warhorse Studios.
I hate that guy just said that. I don't think that was the Kingdom Come Deliverance guy. And what did he say? What was his exact words there?
Example, Nick drew heavy criticism back when he made the Kingdom Come Deliverance documentary. The head of the company was a Gamergator and shared alt-right views. Nick.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is when they say these alt-right views, how alt-right are we talking, right? I remember seeing a lot of the discourse around Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 and the lack of diversity and stuff like that. And from a very surface level, it is a historical game. That's the vision they had for it. So that's what they made, right? In the end, they decided on the second one to go with more role-playing style and force Endymion to play a gay character. But it was BS criticism. It was absolutely BS criticism. It was like, I don't know, calling this dude an anti-woker. The criticism I could have from what he said earlier about this is, yeah, maybe look at an interview the opposite side of it, but if he was in control of the product, he can make it however he wants. I agree. You should probably, I like to hear both sides of the story, but I don't know.
This is purely from Warhorse Studios' angle without critically examining the director's stances, which some viewers thought was a bad call, causing Nick to argue with them.
Well, now I'm going to have to say the quiet part out loud. Toxic, whoever that guy is, for all the good reporting he does, if you get another angle on his story or have a critique of him, he sends his followers to dogpile you and paint you as not credible. Only he is credible, according to him. If I get labeled for calling out toxic bullshit, I'm fine with that. I've already seen he said he doesn't know who I am. So this must be Kirk. So I know what's coming. Ha ha ha. He doesn't know who I am, so I'm not that credible.
Felt inconsistent with Nick because
Nick was upset a prominent journalist supported the site and claimed to not know Nick.
Because I know he believes in asking the hard questions, having before ambushed people he was interviewing.
I admit this is the stuff that biased me against this video, and the lack of evidence to back up the most of the claims. I could have verified it, or couldn't have verified it. Yeah, I mean, a lot of it's hearsay. I think the best portion so far is the video where there, the sound bite that was there, but not a lot of this is saying anything more than Kurt or Nick is bad with business.
Viewing with uncomfortable questions, the interviewee asked to be withheld beforehand. Nick trades good press coverage and holds back criticism in exchange for paid documentaries, trips, gear, and job opportunities, and a lot of his connections stem from
Outpost Games just kicked in 4,000. Hope that's enough to push you over. Excited to work with you all. Okay, this might be something. Game entry Kickstarter. Oh, this is the group that paid money into it. Tomorrow begins the final 4 days of the Kickstarter campaign. This video is the best piece of evidence. I gotcha.
From his Gamementary days. His staff at the time was not pleased when they found out. This recontextualized one of Nick's patterns of behavior. A lot of Nick's personal tastes and biases that he pushed on his staff for coverage or restricted them from criticizing led back to his PR connections. He was making deals behind the scenes without them knowing.
God, maybe he was. Can you show that? Yeah, taking $4,000 from one entity can leave you beholden to some of that entity, but do we know that it was him, this conspiracy that he was pushing the information for other people, or was he just like an anti-woker who didn't want his business to say anything but anti-woke stuff?
Found one where he threw in a positive review to sweeten the deal. All for flights, gifts, job favors, documentary opportunities, none disclosed. That made us look at his odd.
Where is this though? Like, you're making a lot of claims with nothing really to back it up than your word. Khalif. When we think about how parasocial relationships between audiences and creators is often messed up and skewed in unreasonable ways, I think gaming media sometimes has a role in that. I think Dextro helps that imbalance happen all the time and is sometimes bad, in my opinion. I think Dextro is bad all the time, but I still read them sometimes for info. They get some things. I can at least pull at strings if I read a Dextro article. People spending way too much time on Twitter to build their brand, tweeting out every thought they have, being way too open with their personal life, and not keeping a healthy distance from strangers online. I think it is a huge contributor to this. There is a level of unhealthy oversharing. This idea of this is terrible to me, so I need to share it with everyone so we can trauma dump. Both aren't great. Yep. Every once in a while, I get a tweet in my feed from someone I muted or blocked, and every single time they're worried about what other people are doing or saying, engaging in drama of this platform rather than just working on their craft and being productive. My craft is the drama. Can't say I haven't done it, but again, going back to my thread a couple of weeks ago, that too many people spend so much time on here being unproductive, building audiences around constant online drama. Oh, he doesn't like the drama content. Okay, he wouldn't like me. Every time I see those accounts in my feed, it's a reminder to avoid the trap. Also, as someone that hires people for our team, it's also a sign that someone isn't a good hire because they'll be spending more time on Twitter worrying about things that actually getting work done. Don't forget the image you're putting out to the potential employers. Yeah, he fell for the trap. He's on Twitter talking about how you shouldn't be on Twitter, and he hires people because of how much time they spend on Twitter. That's fucking ridiculous. I can do two things at one time. Like I can be in this video. He fell for the trap with Grums and Smash JT. Yeah, I think a lot of the people are falling into that, or like to fall, or happen to fall into that trap. Yeah, I see what you're saying there, and 100%. I mean, it's the trap of, well, they're saying the right words, so I should step in with them.
Social media addiction in a different light. I also thought Nick flew off the handle, but something was off. Nick had already been made aware of his problem and vowed to be better back when he was tricked into publishing.
At Frost Between Us was sent this just a minute ago. Nick went too far in April and then chilled out for a little bit, or at least kept it defensive for the most part. You've got him dead to rights. If this can't be followed up, just for your sake, easy on the Twitter dunks and roasts. Take him out surgically. It's a free win for you. Who are they talking about at this point? Tricked by GigaBear. I mean, GigaBear. I don't know who anyone can get tricked by that retard, but I guess the anti-woke side aren't exactly rolling with a full deck upstairs.
Publishing false evidence. He behaved himself, sort of, and was a bit more vague and defensive. Then he went on the attack almost out of nowhere until he embarrassed himself on a podcast, which I warned him about. He claims he's...
Hey, there was this message you sent me. You're not going to goad me by no ballsing me, LOL. I'll come chat about this with you. I've decidedly curious how you're going to run this thing. Great, I'll DM you the link to the show. First, you have to allow me to DM you because, you know, after our last conversation about you coming on the show, you felt the need to close off communication. Once you do that, I'll send you the link. We'll get to it probably 50 minutes. How about you two talk it out like adults in DMs and leave it at that? Should be fine if this is all about communication and clarity and not content. I don't know what the beef was, but it can go either way, right? You can... I don't think there's anything wrong with getting on stream and making content out of it, right? If you have a beef with someone you know, they can be good content one way or the other. No ballsing me. But yeah, I mean, Stuttering Craig, I could care less about.
Because he was threatened with termination, but that...
It was about the Real Game Awards. And I feel like there's so much more. Like, I feel like this guy should be explaining so much more of what's like going on in these situations, besides just it's bad.
The fact that his apparent Lady Fair had sided with his arch nemesis, who once again...
Nick felt the person in the crowd he was fighting for betrayed him. According to him, he was being led on the whole time. Okay. You really don't need to go on these podcasts and debate these clowns. I appreciate Nick Calandra coming onto the show today to talk. It was big of him. More people should come across that line. I applaud him for that. With that said, here's why he and other members of the Gaming Access Media will not be on the board of directors for At the Real Games. Okay. So he's slighted because he didn't get to be on the At Real Games Awards.
I know that Nick existed. Keep in mind that Nick has a history of making relationships up and trying to be a knight in shining armor, so I wouldn't trust Nick's word that someone else motivated him. But now...
Oh, the second person is Alyssa? Precisely that.
Oh, I know he had Twitter Blue during that time and was hiding it. If you don't...
Heads up. I'll be much less active on Twitter going forward, aside from Second Wind related items and following the indie games. All work related stuff should go to my email going forward. I'm all good. I'm just making some changes in social media habits for my own health, and lots of big projects coming up like Docs and PAX West that need my full attention. Lots of exciting stuff happening on Second Wind, so keep up with us there on our on our Patreon and Discord. Heads up, I'll be much less active on Twitter. Okay, I'm all good. Big projects coming up. Patreon. What is this? Upgrade to Premiere Plus to write longer posts. Okay. You can't tweet over 280 character limit without Twitter Blue. Oh, I guess he's saying he paid for Twitter Blue. You can copy and paste people's tweets to check. I didn't notice that Nick's tweets were longer during the most recent social media drama, and that got him a warning from the board. What? So they're mad at him that he paid for Twitter Blue? Okay.
Oh no, Twitter Blue lets you get money from engagements. I remember that Nick found out how much money could be made from Twitter Blue on June 11. You can hide the blue check mark, but you can also tell someone has Twitter Blue because that's the only way to make posts that are longer than the...
Wait, you can hide the check mark? Is that a thing? Nick's tweets got longer than the character limit after the day he found out how much money could be made from Twitter. How much money that could be made from Twitter? It's like fucking people make next to nothing on Twitter.
The 280 character limit. Nick was making money during his culture warring. All that outrage amounted to about 2 million engagements for a whopping $10. Twitter Blue cost $8 at base, so he tanked our reputation and made it harder to find sponsors for $2 Twitter dollars. Makes you wonder if it's less embarrassing to admit to having a social media problem that draws in sympathy. Not saying he was tanking SW.
So what is it? He lost sponsors because he has the blue check mark? Standards of conduct clause from bylaw, standards of conduct. Directors shall exercise the... Yeah, okay, sure.
We tanked our reputation and made it harder to find sponsors for $2 Twitter dollars. Makes you wonder if it's less embarrassing to admit to having a social media problem that draws in sympathy. Not saying he was tanking SWG's value and planning to sell it, I'm just noting that Nick has sold only SP, Gamumentary, and in his mind he facilitated the sale of Escapist. What incentive does this man have to not run a business?
Oh, because he fought with Grums and Smash. So let me bring this all together, because my brain is like spinning with the way this guy's talking. Nick is on the right? And at some point he got into a fight with Grums and Smash, which is like killing Jesus at that point. Oh, Other Frost is right. Nick does have a problem with X middle. He's kind of in the middle. Okay. So I'm getting in more. I was thinking with some of the stuff this Frost guy said he was more lefty. But so this is a hit piece of the right that this guy did on Nick after the Grum situation.
Off after the fact. Nick went on to Escapist magazine and somehow ended up as editor-in-chief, talking to workers that were there before my time.
Okay.
The content creators and lorded over them with his heavy-handed content direction.
Now I'm catching it on. I should have talked to you a little bit before the stream, so I didn't completely look like I was brain dead. But it's fun learning it on stream as we go.
To cover your favorite game, well, Nick wouldn't greenlight or promote it until you covered one of his favorite games first.
So this is basically what happens when you step out of line. You step out of line, and then everyone's going to make videos about you.
Undisclosed connections. I can't state the games because it might reveal the creators, but he was getting bolder with the unethical quid pro quo. More documentary opportunities as well as gaming gear were coming up for Calandra. But Nick couldn't keep the video side in the green, so he used money from the editorial side to offset.
I like coming in fresh and trying to learn it that way. Yeah, I agree with you. It's more fun trying to figure out everything that's going on. And I feel like I can have better takes than reading everything. Well, not better takes, but I can have my initial take versus watching it ahead of time and then looking at other things and being influenced.
Set the losses, a major red flag that led to the parent company splitting the video site away from the rest of the site. Nick was on his own now, not doing well, and then gamers bought up Escapist magazine. This was around the time I showed up. I didn't see many red flags with Nick at the time, but man, did I have a bad time under gamers. He led me to believe it was his corporate bosses. He dangled a full-time contract over me for months and ignored his boss's attempts to promote me. He had me voice 60 videos for his Prima project where we assembly line Lords of the Fallen guides to no success. He had me voice his Stratos video.
Oh, Lords of the Fallen. Like, Fallen is probably should be capital letters for that one.
In shorts, he wanted me to come up with yet another series and another series. All of this on top of my other duties. I was in big-time crunch mode, and Nick was practically begging me to get him through the year because his bosses set unreal expectations. Turns out that was a lie. Nick was the one who promised them $805,000 in 2024 from YouTube video side alone, while we were losing 30 to 60K quarterly. Nick was all over the place and received...
Okay. At least he's showing it. Is this the same one we already saw? I'm pretty sure he already showed this to us. The numbers look the same.
Numerous complaints of creating a hostile work environment. He demanded the contracts be rewritten so that everyone answered to him, and it created this strange back and forth where Nick and his boss were fighting over me until the CEO pulled me into a meeting. I didn't know who to believe at the time. Nick said everything was their fault. Gamers said it was Nick's fault. They finally gave me access to the analytics though, and I was happy to see that Nick or whoever set up the YouTube backend wasn't very good at it. Once we optimized it a little, we could get more value per video and make the climb less daunting. But it did show me only Yahtzee and I were profitable. This is what led the executives to finally try and cut Nick clean off. He had run out of excuses for why he couldn't grow a video series and a channel. He took their money and it was time to pay it back, but he wanted to play victim instead. Their plan was for a Nicholas Escapist, one where the creators got to experiment and do what they wanted with the channel. He angrily declared the Escapist would never be profitable, and that set his boss off. But we didn't know that. The team wasn't going to be fired until Nick threw a temper tantrum. He would rather an outlet go up in flames with him in it than have it succeed without him. And that's how we ended up leaving, unaware that Nick was the cause of all of our problems. Before we worked...
I mean, this is very, 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 very... Well, you know, there's obvious problems with the way, like... So far, I've only seen one piece of evidence that kind of convinces me that Nick is a shitbag when it comes to leadership. But is it really all of their problems were him? Like, it sounds odd that he had such a stranglehold on everybody here, even as like the top guy running the business. I don't know. It's just I'm getting one side of the story here.
At SWG, though, I demanded to know whether he held me back from a promotion or if it was corporate. I wouldn't be mad, and I was fine with it if he used it to bargain for the full-time pay of the other staff members. He held firm that
everyone else from Second Wind backed Nick, people who worked with Nick longer. So basically, okay, I'd like to see that if you can show me some of it. But yeah, there's not a lot of meat here. There's the people who are angry and wanted to leave. And then that's it. Everything else is hearsay and that the business was failing.
That it wasn't him. And he'd go on to overspend, overpromise, overwork.
Don't know if Nick just has all of them fooled, but I doubt it. Yeah, well, you'll always be able to find the loud person who is angry at the business, right? It's a terrible business, blah, 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 and people will listen to that. But you don't hear about all the other people that like working for him, you know?
Underdeliver and create a hostile workplace, just as he had a gamumentary and escapist, while continuing to do back alley deals with his PR connections where he traded positive coverage and dulled criticism in exchange for favors, job opportunities, and paid documentaries.
Yeah, show me this. You keep repeating this idea that he has, he's gotten paid for these things, for trips and all this other stuff, but you haven't shown me anything that says that that's happened. This is just claims you've made. And you have supposedly other people, but you didn't show any of them. Or at least the stuff you did show was very, like, it didn't say anything. You know what I mean?
That's as far as this one's going to go, because all the remaining details expand on my problem with Nick plus SWG leading up to my resignation, and I felt it watered down the core focus of Nick's actions. If there are any questions pertaining to Nick, feel free to ask them in the comments or on Twitter, as I plan to do a live stream in a few days where I can answer any frequently asked questions. If you have anything to ask about SWG, feel free to ask those as well so I can better structure that video. You may have noticed this video is monetized, so there could be claim of my milking the drama for money. Those claims will come up no matter what I do. There's always a purity test, and the undeniable truth is that yes, speaking out against people like Nick has the side effect of bringing attention and money. I believe in the end it's about your main goal, how you get there, and what you do with the money that matters. I'd like to give back to the people that trusted SWG and me, and raise up developers, writers, games media, content creators, and to make something like that happen, I can't be shy about money. I also plan to stay independent regardless of the outcomes because I don't want to be in a position again where I can't speak out. What happens now? Personally, I do the same as I've done before. As for Nick's resignation, that vote with my wallet, my time, and my support. As for you, you've been informed. You can ask more questions to me, to SWG, and in the end,
I personally don't feel like I've been informed of anything. I feel like I wasted a good hour of my time trying to figure that out. But it sounds like he has some transparency issues, right? So I've got that. You've made a lot of, claims of him taking bribes and things like that. Maybe he has, but where is that evidence? Where do we have proof of that? Did any of the if he had been taking bribes from other sources, did other owners or the people that paid him the money find out anything about it? You figured there'd be someone in the company that had something. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong there. Moral of the story, don't join YouTuber co-ops. And if you're in with the right, don't talk bad about Grums, apparently. We got this. I'm going to watch the Smash JT one. I don't know that I'm going to watch the Hypnotic one tonight because we're getting close to time. But I want to see what he says about the whole thing. Nick Caladra gets dismantled by former Second Wind employee. I go to Smash because he has the best info and he does the deepest research.
It's my last day at Disney World, and I couldn't ignore this story because it's just that insane. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Smash JT. We have the infamous Nick Calandra being completely obliterated by Froster Vivia, the other Frost, Sebastian Ruiz, talking about why he left Second Wind and why this organization is completely falling apart, and how he's talking about dismantling everything about Nick Calandra, showing proof, tangible evidence, screenshots, text.
It's not just because it's a screenshot doesn't necessarily make it tangible proof. And a lot of the screenshots that I read out there were like, one of them was about a beef that they have. He didn't give the context of what that beef was. And then it was Nick saying, hey, I'm apologizing for it. Right. Nick's definitely not in the right, and he shouldn't be on Twitter because it sounds like he's got a fucking ego. But I don't know that I have any. Hey, you're also playing RimWorld. Nice. Are you doing the Trooper? Are you doing the unstable for 1.6? Because that's what I'm trying out now, and it's straight vanilla. But he's not. None of that stuff I felt like explained to me what was going on in that situation. It was just repeating a lot of the stuff that says he's bad. The best thing was the soundbite, which from what I heard makes it sound like he doesn't want to be transparent about where the money is going, right? I have too many mods to try before the great hiatus of updates. Well, hopefully they'll have them all up to date by the time Odyssey comes out. So this Smash is easier to do this with because he doesn't usually provide a lot of evidence of his. Oh, let's put that back. Of his stuff. So we're going back down to gaming. What the fuck just happened there? Why do I have two chat boxes? Get out of here. Get out of here. Agreed, man. Agreed. Scrubs, I am getting back into Elden Ring, trying to figure out if I could get the new DLC. I mean, you can try Elden Ring all you want, but if you want a real challenge, put Randy Random in there at just about any difficulty and see if you can survive RimWorld. Day 2, you catch the plague and die. Sorry, try again.
Text messages, Discord messages, like everything about Nick Calandra is out there on the table for all to see. So yes, while it's not too shocking to me knowing Nick Calandra and the type of person he is, seeing it come to light, seeing it out there for all to see right now, the way it's being...
Has Smash always had a negative opinion of Nick, or is this like a new opinion after the Grum situation?
Done is just so sweet. It's so glorious. It's so satisfying to see the truth getting out there. Hit that subscribe, give me a like, and check out SmashJT.com for the full, exhaustive story talking about this entire dismantling by Sebastian Ruiz, destroying the career of Nick Calandra. The gaming industry has seen its fair share of controversies, but few figures have consistently demonstrated mental impact to it like Nick Calandra has.
Hey, that's food.
For years, Calandra's been a master manipulator behind the scenes in game media, pulling the strings and getting his way, making backroom deals and tit for tat. You do this, I'll make a good review for you. Give me this money, give me a trip, and I'll make sure your game gets the good.
See how easy Smash is to like just trick into saying anything if the words are right? There's nothing in that document that absolutely proves that. Could it be happening? Sure. But where are we seeing that? Where's the income of all this money coming in? It shows that at least he was transparent at some time when the company was losing money, because Frost showed us a document of the money and at least of the money coming in. I don't know.
Press coverage. You know, a lot of what happened in the original Gamergate is coming back to bite Nick Calandra in the ass once again. His tenure across various organizations has left a trail of unethical behavior, financial mismanagement, and broken trust. Frost of Rivia, a well-respected content creator and former collaborator, released a video pulling back the curtain and completely exposing Calandra's extreme toxic influence. Nick Calandra is a manipulative liar that has failed those around him time and time again. And this video Frost released was so insane that even I, knowing as bad as a person Nick Calandra is, could not have expected it to go this far. In the video, Frost details piece by piece his experiences with Calandra, providing a damning account of his behavior. Far from being a simple disagreement, his video meticulously breaks down how Calandra's actions have not only undermined the projects he was involved in, but also eroded the trust and goodwill of the communities he was supposed to serve in the first place. You know, the entire reason that they formed Second Wind was to not be like the professional media out there. Well, turns out, according to Frost, that's actually exactly what Second Wind decided to do.
He was making deals behind the scenes without them knowing. I even found one where he threw in a positive review.
Is he reading from Grok and Chatbot GBT? Did he get an AI to write this up for him? You know, I've never thought about that, but he's definitely not a wordsmith, right? Not saying that I am. I'm definitely not a wordsmith myself, but Smash is just something else. And again, he's showing these clips, but he's not explaining it. He's just doing these vague things. He completely dismantled him. He's got, screenshots. The screenshots. Let me show you the screenshots.
View to sweeten the fucking all for flights, gifts, job favors, documentary opportunities, none disclosed.
The video,
like, this is a completely baseless claim, and he says it multiple times in the video without ever showing anything else.
Highlights two major points of contention: why several team members appeared to resign in solidarity against Calandra, and whether the situation was linked to an alt-right agenda. Frost professionally and perfectly debunked both narratives. The resignations were not in support of Caladra. They were a direct result of his financial mismanagement, which had left the organization hemorrhaging money. The accusation of the alt-right grift was dismissed, with Frost making it clear that the issue is not political, but ethical. Frost could not stand with this organization any longer after everything that was uncovered with Nick Caladra.
Offsetting his costs with income from other sources to mislead associates. Consistent overpromising.
Like here, let's... So he at least showed them the money coming in. And then is there a... I guess this is the made year end how they were losing money? Where's the expenses? Unknown. $86,000, $75,000. What are these negative numbers down here? MMO, the difference. I don't know. I just can't even believe this document. It's or this screenshot, right? It's showing the money coming in, but then it's saying, and if I'm a dumbass, let me know. But then it's saying a negative number at the bottom. I guess for, no profits earned or something like that. But where does it show what the expenses were? Or is where is it shown that he sent this document? Because it's really hard for me to believe a lot of this stuff. And it's getting harder as I listened to him talk about it.
Delivering that put other people's jobs on the line when layoffs come through. Pushing for content that validated his own views and tastes while discouraging any content that took a stance against his own biases. Prioritizing his own raises and money for his projects while holding back.
Nick promises workers better pay, but would ignore. Like, this is nothing. This is just fucking text typed out. I can do this right now in a Word document. This doesn't mean shit.
The upwards mobility of his coworkers and also prioritizing his publicity to the detriment of others.
One of the most alarming revelations from Frost's video is the consistent pattern of deception that Caladra had displayed throughout his career. From his time at Gamumentary to his tenure at The Escapist and beyond, Caladra had engaged in unethical practices that have severely damaged the organizations that he had led. Each time, Nick Caladra would overpromise, underdeliver, and give some backhanded statement as to why he can't give the information or why he's the one in charge because he's the professional in the room. Just trust him.
One last question.
Okay.
Kind of a shot in the dark here. How much is...
He's only going to show that part right there. You're just saying things. You've done no further research on what Frost did. So you have no idea any of his sources. You have no idea anything else. The two major points of contention, one is the most alarming revelation. See things like the AI loves to write, and I never hear him say this stuff on stream. I'll have to listen to his stream and test that out, but I could completely believe it. Just the way they work. Just listen and believe. Yeah, just listen to my words and believe what I say. Because all I did was watch Frost's video and immediately believed it.
Enthusiast paying for Gamumentary and the site as a whole?
Not telling you that.
Okay.
Frost talks about how at The Escapist, Caladra's mismanagement led to massive financial losses, with the cost skyrocketing to his reckless spending and failed projects. Instead of taking responsibility, Caladra shifted the blame like he always does, portraying himself as the victim of circumstances well out of his control, because it could never have been.
Did he even, he didn't even show proof of him claiming victimhood over this shit. Where was the messages saying it's not my fault, it's this, it's not. Smash, you need to go back and talk to your connections in the gaming industry and see if they'll give you some better info. It's not that hard to find out who other Frost was using as a source. Yeah, it shouldn't be that hard. You should be able to go to Frost and say, hey, who are these people at, too? And I don't even know, like, I get the people don't want their name in there, and that can be something that you do, you know, you won't put a name out there, but just an email with them, or just a text message or an email with them telling their story isn't proof. It's not evidence that something happened. If you get a bunch of people and you can prove to me that they worked at the company, then maybe I can start to believe it. But there's just no meat on these fucking bones.
Caladra's fault that spiraling costs and things that he was spending money on were his fault. Frost's video also exposes how Caladra misrepresents audience feedback.
I want to see something real quick, because we're like 8 months from this video. Na, 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 na. He has like no content. Okay, maybe there is. So okay. So I don't know what numbers he was making on for Second Wind or whatever company that he was working for with Nick, but until this video came out and this one right here got some good views, he wasn't doing that great. And then this one got 100K. His Second Wind got 200K. A couple other videos got 100K, and then he just kind of tails off. This one did good, but pirate software is easy to make money off of. He's also using the back paper of Dogpack, which was popular around that time too. And then he just kind of fizzles off. So like, was his content top tier in the company, or was it just some of these fucking content creators not making money? You know, they say just as much as they're saying that it's all Nick's fault, it could be easily theirs as well. They talk about the screenshots, or not the thumbnails and stuff like that, but how much control did they actually have? Are they telling the truth about that? Did he do every single content creator's thumbnail? Was there a base thumbnail that they had to use? I don't know. You see this a lot though recently with a lot of these anti-wokers, and he's only putting like one video out a week. If you want to make content, make content. I have thoughts on the systematic problems in the gaming industry, why fans get taken for granted. I think Borderlands 4 has bigger problems than Randy's tweets. Just, I don't know. Seems like garbage to me.
He manipulated team members, isolated those who disagreed with him. It created a toxic work environment that ultimately led to the collapse of the teams he was supposed to lead in the first place. Everything about Nick Caladra is beyond.
No proof was shown of this. No proof was shown of that. No proof was shown of anything else.
Being shown here. None of this even gets at his serious cyber stalking attempts. Like when he has a disagreement with someone on Twitter, the dude is like addicted to attacking and trying his best.
Woo! Hey, let's not fucking throw stones in glass houses, Smash. This isn't. When did he start his initial? Oh man, it's gonna make me pull up the document, isn't it? In my time on the internet, I have learned some creators are allergic to accountability or like to blame others. Oh yeah, that's fucking easy. You know, it's so hard for you to take accountability naturally as a person, and voice crack. And then you add the whole internet to it, and it's just a whole different thing. But yeah, let's talk about cyber stalking people. Smash. Oh man, it's the scapegoat approach. Yeah, they're scapegoating him because this business failed, and it was easy to do because at the time Grums and him got into it, right? I'd probably want to go back and see those tweets, but I'm starting to remember some of those stuff that I saw and just didn't pay attention to. Where are you? What happened to my Alyssa folder? Don't tell me all that work I did is gone. Epic. What the fuck? Here. File Explorer. Desktop. There it is. I don't know why I wouldn't find it. On where are you? $70,000. March. Jeff Grubbs. Waxes on his vitriol. April. Yeah, I think he was already cyber stalking Alyssa at this point. If anything, Smash is not good with consistency. He said to Alyssa, this will be something that I bring up too, talked about Alyssa bringing up his full name, even though it was already on the internet, was a way to cause harassment to go his way. And then, not long after, he did the exact same thing to McDizzle. This fucking guy, dude.
To destroy anyone's argument, even if he's in the wrong, he doesn't care. He wants to try to undermine you to make you look awful. And if he can't do that, he's going to silence you any way he can.
Hey, Smash, don't fucking talk about yourself like that, man. You can make a change. You can turn away from that. Oh, you're not talking about yourself?
He's displayed multiple times to me, even trying to get my website taken down, trying to get me fired from where I work, trying to get my
Kotaku has a website, right? Or they used to.
Funding sources taken away, all because I decided to simply cover what
funding sources. I'm looking at the man in the mirror. Yeah, funding sources. I wonder who made a website full of the people's names that worked at a particular gaming website so that he could make sure they never got a job in the industry ever again. And even when said person got a job at Waffle House, he pushed into that, and she ended up having to leave that job too, right?
I felt like was a dude.
Maybe she's still working it, but I guarantee you people found out which one.
It was a bad thing for the game industry. And
I agree, you are a fucking horrible waste of human fucking garbage on the gaming industry.
Did he take that personal? And clearly, it's not just me.
He feels wronged by people in games media, and Nick holds grudges. The issue is that Nick also has a problem with perception. It creates this catch-22 where if Nick wrongs you and you stand up for yourself, then he feels he can retaliate. But if Nick wrongs you and you don't do anything, then he thinks you're holding it in and plotting your revenge, which angers him, so he feels he can strike first.
Wow, you definitely said stuff there.
I think it set him off. Important example here. For as long as I've known Nick, he hated this one specific individual with a passion, and what drove him up the walls was the way this person pretended to not know Nick. I reached out to this guy.
Okay, he even admitted
who Nick was. You can check Twitter if Nick leaves this up by the time this goes through and see that.
I was about to give him credit, and then he just ended it there.
Never acknowledged Nick once, but Nick has tweeted at him. I went and double-checked with somebody else to make sure this guy really didn't know Nick, and he has given the exact same responses. He genuinely didn't know Nick. Nick's arch-nemesis wasn't pretending to not know him. He didn't know he even existed, and Nick was holding a one-sided grudge this entire time.
The situation reached a breaking point when Caladra's mismanagement became too egregious to ignore, prompting not just Frost, but other colleagues to either resign or be fired in his wake. The implications of Caladra's behavior extend well beyond the organizations that he's mismanaged. His unethical conduct threatened the integrity of games media as a whole, which is exactly why Frost was calling for Nick not to be out of the organization of Second Wind, but to completely be removed from the game industry entirely. People like this are exactly what's wrong with it. Frost.
Say that again.
Second Wind, but to completely be removed from the game industry entirely, of games media as a whole, which is exactly why Frost was calling for Nick not to be out of the organization of Second Wind, but to completely be removed from the game industry entirely. People like this are exactly what's wrong with it. Frost,
do you hear that? Do you hear that fucking statement? Like how retarded that statement is. These guys will cry fucking cancel culture. They're trying to take down my website. They're trying to get me out of gaming. But the fucking moment it's someone they don't like, they're like, oh, he's doing the thing by trying to fucking, Frost is trying to get these guys out of fucking gaming. I'm so fucking tired of this bullshit, right? When I was looking at Gamergate, which like I didn't get into all the weeds, there's plenty of wrongs with the gaming industry. Yeah, I agree. And there's plenty of stuff to talk about. But I've never said in my, I was never on the internet saying it, of course, but talking with my friends and stuff like that, we never wanted Kotaku to just shut down. We thought they were a piece of shit company and that we didn't like the articles that they wrote because they were rage bait, which we always fell for, right? Which everyone fell for during that time. And just like rage baiting with the Antiwoke is starting to burn out, Kotaku burned themselves out too because people stopped going to them for gaming news. But the fact that he's doing the exact same thing and just talked about that, not in this same video, it's astounding how stupid Smash JT is.
Coverage and favorable reviews for personal gain, and Caladra blurred the lines between journalism and PR, which eroded the trust that audiences place in gaming outlets. The reason why people watch you. If they don't have your trust, what do they have? And all for what? A quick buck? It's almost like it's failed every time.
Can you show me the evidence of that? I would love to see the numbers.
Caladra has gone to an organization and completely tanked it into the ground, and his brain is telling him, yep, I'll just start a new organization and do it all over again and screw the customers one more time. And it's all coming to light right now. People are finally catching up to it, 3 organizations deep, that this dude has a track record of destruction. Frost video revealed that Caladra had a history of accepting gifts, trips, and job opportunities in exchange for positive coverage.
Well, I agree that, the years before Gamergate, Vincent, we talk about Kotaku and IGN being, I'm about to die. This is not going to be a good run. When you talk about Kotaku and the gaming industry and stuff like that, there were problems before Kotaku started rage baiting. IGN, has always been a meme 7 out of 10. You're not getting a good thing there. There was a growing tension as the internet, gaming media started to move over to the internet on how they were portraying games and how gamers were seeing it, right? There was a lot of that belief of favoritism, which turns out to be true in the most part, where companies won't write bad articles for certain companies that are out there, and they'll just, at worst, if it's a bad game, give it a 7. I've never agreed with rated scores for games anyway. I think just telling me about the game, what the game does, the problems with the game, your opinions on the game as well is more than enough. I don't need you to give me, I give this 3 stars out of 5. It's retarded. Gamergate and with Kotaku and Anita and all that other stuff that happened it was already a boiling point. It just needed a catalyst, right? It was already set to burn. Something just needed to happen to set it off.
The practice in itself undermines the very foundation of ethical journalism. Like, yikes! Double yikes! How do you even get away with this once? Never mind 3 times. Calandra's actions have destroyed the credibility of the content produced under his leadership. Frost explains everything being published during Calandra's tenure is now subject to scrutiny. Nobody can trust or believe anything they've read or seen from Calandra based off of the evidence that's been presented now.
Now, at this point, this hadn't happened. I'm kind of curious if gaming magazines were better or not. Personally, I would say that they probably weren't. You know what I mean? It was just people couldn't get online as easily and talk about the problems with the games. Like, yeah, you would have certain things that would happen, especially in the olden days with like the the ET game. But it's just less people were getting together to talk about it, right?
If Calandra has been impacted by
You also had more physical media at that time too. I think they were slightly better, but I was younger back then. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe slightly. But you also had the thing where you had physical media. Like, you couldn't really... People didn't return games because the games were bad. Once you bought it, the company had their money. So... if the review is wrong, well, there's not much you can do about it.
Gifts from these organizations for positive coverage, or just taking a look at the game and wink, wink, nudge, nudge, I'll make sure to give this a good review, or I'll look at it in a good light or a positive light, or I'll tell my audience it's pretty good. If you guys, I don't know, give me a trip somewhere, or...
Last Descent, Lords of the Fallen... Some of the there's other garbage that they have said was good. What's the new one, that MMO that looks okay, but there's no real, we don't know enough yet about it.
Or I don't know, give me a virtual reality device, or give me something for my home that I can use myself. I'll make sure that I take care of you guys too. And here's why I'm so pissed off about this. Like, I look at the games industry as a self-destructing force of...
This colony is dead. Oh, God. The Great Rebellion, DEI, free games.
People,
all right, well,
Calandra or Alyssa Mercante or other people out there that are just giving half a story, not giving people all the information, so they can't make up their mind based off the actual reality that's presented in front of them. Then they have to use only the information that's been given to them by these quote-unquote professionals. The problem is people only get one side of the story. It's a lopsided view. It's a skewed perspective of reality, where these are finding ways to be successful without producing good games.
Hey, so Smash, how many times have you fucking gone out and reached out to a lefty or a progressive or someone who disagreed with you about games and actually sat down and had a talk with them on Scream? Or do all of you motherfuckers sit on 8-man fucking podcasts all sucking each other's cocks off about how you're winning because Veilguard was always going to be a flop? Just fucking brain dead.
This video is the turning point. It not only exposed Calandra for the manipulative liar that he is, but more importantly, it serves as a call to action for the entire gaming community on the whole. Calandra is not just a personal failing.
What's funny is he hit her name too.
It's a systematic problem that, as we found out, if left unchecked, turns into what this has become, having far-reaching consequences for the entire video game industry at large, where viewers...
What consequences did this happen? It was fucking a co-op of creators trying to do games, media, and stuff like that, and it fucking failed. That probably happens every day on this. Every day there's some streamer or some fucking YouTuber who gets on his channel and tries to, you know, be the games media thing. And they fucking fail, you know? This is just what happens. What great thing changed the gaming industry with Nick being a shitty businessman?
or the audience would put their trust in someone just to find out that the person they were trusted was deceiving them all along. And as far as Second Wind is concerned and how they're handling this, yes, they have put out a statement from some of the people that work there. And yes,
from some of the people that work there. Yep, that's the AI trying to make the essay and why it makes no sense.
if I find the time, I will be covering that as well. But I wanted to make sure I got this information out there as well, because this is the starting point for the downfall of Second Wind. Like, we all knew this was coming. We saw the wave far in the distance, you know, when Frost left and said, I'm going to make a video exposing this. We saw it coming. Second Wind saw it coming. And now it's here. And the destruction is just beginning. Anyways, I'm going to leave it there. If you guys want more information on this story in particular, check out smashjt.com. I will link that in the description below. If you appreciate what I'm doing.
There's no point in going to Smash's website after you've watched his video, because it's pretty much the exact same wording. Nothing fucking changes. He makes the website for all of his other creators around him to soy at and fucking clap like little fucking seals. Fucking I'm probably gonna start a line of A-logging, we'll say, when it comes to Smash JT, because this dude, the more I've read about the Alyssa case, the more dishonest this guy fucking looks in everything that he's said around the case. But we'll see if I can get to cover that tomorrow. Like I said, that's going to depend, or not tomorrow, Friday. That's going to depend on someone I reached out to for some information. If not, it'll be Saturday where we'll go over it. But well, it just shows the level of effort he's putting in, Vincent, or lack of it. Well, yeah, I mean, I've started to realize that no matter how deep Smash says he's going, he doesn't really do any research into any of his stuff. I'll probably stop by. Yeah, come on by. I'm planning. I've narrowed it down so that I don't have to read all the documents word for word, because there's shit we don't need. But I've highlighted the key points, the evidence that they're putting forward. And I think it's going to be like, I'm trying to make it a good source for people to come to if they want to know what's going on in the case. With that being said, it's past this old man's bedtime, so I'm going to head out. Thanks for coming by. If you're in chat now, leave a like before you go. It helps out, you know, me getting bigger. I'm getting to see a little bit of growth with you guys, and I appreciate that. I'm having a lot of fun doing this and talking about these different characters. So talk to you later, guys.